Miss Minette.
I am very well, thank you, Pastor Percy.
And how was your weekend?
Irie.
It was an Irie weekend.
Irie.
Mine was too hectic, but Irie, a lot of things happened. Of course, it's December and a lot of people are getting married, so I have a lot of weddings lined up and getting calls to do more. Well, that's a sign of the times, It says just before he would come, everybody be doing their things. Other people be getting married, going about their business, and then he would come to surprise them. But I want this morning to raise our praise and thanksgiving level. So I open up with Psalm 100 all generations. So good morning to those who are out there on their way to work. We see all of the Christmas lights, and you kind of lit that up by in October, November. Said you wanted a Christmas song, so it is spreading like a virus in our nation. A good virus, the virus of joy and happiness. So we thank you for joining us this morning. You never had to. You could have turned your dial to another station because there are so many stations out there. But we thank you that you have been faithful and continue to listen to what we have to say as we seek to change mindsets and to say to beloved Jamaicans, we can do this together. Wow. More than a mouthful this morning, eh?
Yes, but so nicely done. Of course, I echo the welcome and the greeting. Good morning to all of our listeners everywhere. Those in Jamaica and elsewhere, we are especially grateful for those in South Africa who are being cheered by what we share in the morning. There is enough negative
Yes,
going
dear.
around. Yes. So we are standing firm with South Africa this morning, being credited for the latest strain of the mutated COVID 19 virus. But as in all things we know, there is God. I'm not afraid of the COVID 19 virus.
I am not afraid.
Yeah, I place my trust and my confidence elsewhere, and all these other things that occur in the natural are to be dealt with perfunctorily. I
Yes.
think we know what to do when it comes to that. So, good morning, good morning, good morning to the crew in the house. I see the production team
Having
having
fun,
quite a good
having
time
great
next
fun
door.
this morning.
Please just let me know to go where to go to get the live. Um, all kinds of things we're perfecting our art. And I'm pleased to see the producer and the engineer having fun with it. All right, I'm going to hand you my phone so one of you can put me on the live. So if it is up, we know where to go. Please remember that we are broadcasting from the Best 100 FM studio in Kingston. You can hear us on 100.3, 100.5, 100.7, and 100.9 on the FM band. We broadcast
So we control
nationally.
100 brand.
And we are now live on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can always go to the Best 100 FM website and tune in. We're trying to use multiple platforms to reach as many as we can. You know the saying that you leave the 99 and pursue the one? We're pursuing the one. And I think if you are constantly pursuing the one, you will get the 100, won't you say?
So it is.
Yeah, so we pursue the
And it
one.
speaks to who
Any
our God
listener,
is.
the
Yeah.
one listener somewhere there who would feel that, boy, I can't get no radio anywhere, or if you have access to the internet and you are having challenges, you can find us on all these different places: Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and the Best 100
It's
website,
Twitch and not
where
Twitter,
you
right?
can get it's Twitch, where
Twitch.
you can get audio only. We get audio only on the website. Oh, we're also get yeah. So you'll get both audio and video. At On the Morning Connection, we are seeking to um, engage the art of multiplication.
Yes.
We do one thing and we want it to reach as many as possible through all the many platforms that the technology allows us to invade. It's an invasion. Good morning to the listeners. I know Pastor greeted you so well with some scripture there from from Psalm
100.
from Psalm 100. And we do know we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and every plan, every conceivable good plan has been laid up for us
Yeah.
from the moment of our conception. In fact, even before we were conceived, a
Psalm
place,
139.
yeah, a place was made for us. So as we celebrate that this morning, we are hard up on the break. In fact, we are at the break.
Wow.
6:30 a.m.
Yes, yes,
We're going to
yes.
take the first break, and then we'll come back to you. When we come back, we will lay the foundation for the things that we have to discuss this morning. There are a number of issues that came out of last week's shows. Let me tell you, if I go through the notes of the previous shows, I can do 6, 7 different shows just coming out of it. Last week we closed on Thursday with 2 very good interviews. Talk about busy weekend. The producer was busy on the weekend curating the interviews, just editing and dressing them up and preparing them for us to share it on different with the the subjects, and
Interviewees.
also with others, because there were 2 very nice interviews.
Very
We
excellent.
continue to feel some gratitude to Mr. Courtney Campbell and to John Andre Lawrence.
What a connection.
To Mr. Campbell? No, I'm not.
What no, what a
connected to Mr.
connection
Campbell.
it was between John
Oh.
Andre and
I-
Courtney Campbell. It wasn't a coincidence, it
All
was a
right.
setup. A
Forgive-
divine setup.
Forgive my vanity. I thought you were hinting at the connection between the many Lawrences. that
No,
are
no,
on
no.
the
I
team.
was just thinking about the connection. It was just a divine link up.
It was
you
a
know.
great moment.
Yeah.
But all right, so we'll take the break, and then we'll just kind of go through a few of the highlights of what happened last week and how it affects what we'll be doing this week. Please stay with us. This is the Morning Connection with your hosts, Minette Lawrence and Percival Palmer.
We'll be right back.
Youths, are you stressed? Are you faced with trauma? Well, this is the program for you. Join Royton McLaren for Youth Resilience and Empowerment every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Best 100.5 FM.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
You hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience, and them diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. You hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13, and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling because trust me.
Winter Social Spirits and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM. Keep listening.
Easy! Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer the truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah! Praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him. And the no name of jive, I'm your. And the no name of jive, it's your. So them evil, so them lie, so them corrupt. Scheming and them planning, but we not give up. Jehovah and the one way you hold me up. In the Father we pray.
Watch this.
Done, Jaja, they done with the name done. Jaja, super cat, him come and then them do it done, dada. They done shit there.
Watch this.
Done, mama. Wicked and evil, Jack confess slaughter. Tool way in the way and the whole of scripture. And live and faith and night and the holy water. No need not a Glock. Light on chopper, it's 66 for the
We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Be prepared. Listen to ADPEM.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. Pastor Percy has a gift for us.
It's just a gift. All through the day, there are clutter coming your way. Disappointments, drama, stress, worry, guilt, jealousy. That's why the scripture tells us to guard our mind. You remember you speak about the battlefield of the minds, and you have to be proactive if you're going to keep your mind in peace. Quit dwelling on thoughts that tell you everything you're not. Program your mind with what God says about you. That's what you are alluding to. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made by God and are exactly how you're supposed to be. Now get in agreement with Him with a quiet word. I'm favored and have everything I need to fulfill my destiny. When you start dwelling on what God says about you, it will automatically clear out the clutter. Fear can't stay where faith is. That's why we keep saying, let's have faith and let's come against this fear narrative that's happening. Discouragement can't stay where hope is. Stress can't stay where peace is. Guilt can't stay where forgiveness is. Mediocrity can't stay where greatness is. An uncluttered mind is a powerful force. That's it.
We're decluttering for Christmas.
No, we're decluttering to start the tsunami of changing our country. And it's interesting. We speak and we continue to declare, and I continue to say it over this medium. We'll not have a third or a fourth wave in this country.
I was going to say to be, but the truth is when you make the declaration, you speak of things as they are because they exist in the way that you declare them in the spiritual realm. And it is because you have seen that existence in the spiritual realm why you can make bold and declare it to be so. You can declare a thing and it shall be so. This is a promise to those who practice a certain way of living. So on our behalf, Pastor has made a declaration. We bless him for it. But sometimes it absolutely it starts with the declaration, but that is just like the first step in the process. The work needs to be done.
Correct.
Why do we say there shall be no fourth wave? There shall be no fourth wave because those who know what to do have set about doing it.
Right.
And I count us among those who know what to do. I've been greatly troubled on an issue that we know that it is here among us. The evil is here among us, so to speak. And we marvel at the many faces of it. But as we try to pull at the different strands, we are working our way back to the root.
To the source.
To the source. Many of us understand that Jamaica that we know and participate in today had its official beginnings in a period of time after the abolition of slavery. And in the way that we reinvent ourselves constantly, we recognize that ancient as we may all be as spirits, we go through different incarnations, if you will. We had our period of enslavement, physical enslavement, chattel slavery, and then through a process not entirely up to what we did, we were released from bondage to Her Majesty's government. A partial release is what I call it, because, like many, I feel that the Jamaica Ordering Council, which we like to call a constitution and which is no constitution at all, the Jamaica Ordering Council represents a new incarnation of the Jamaican people. At the foundation of it is some kind of democracy, parliamentary democracy, mimicking or
Westminster model.
former slave owners. A very essential part of it is this idea, and it has been refined, and it fundamental rights and freedoms, the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. A very important part of it is the very principle that enshrines the work of our Parliament, the member article. I'm going to call it a testimony that kind of froze my blood in my veins.
In court?
He headed it: participation, inclusion, non-discrimination of persons with disabilities in the Parliament. When Vietnam was finding its legs after a prolonged period of battle, Ho Chi Minh's ideology on the supremacy of law in a rule of law state was the focal point of a lot of scholarship and discussion. And you can search it out and find writings of, many have written on it. And I've been just researching and reacquainting myself with the ideology and the thought process of leaders in countries similarly placed, whether they are just coming out of prolonged military conflict or they are coming out of Egypt as redeemed slaves or escaping slaves, however you want to look at it. But I've tried to find in history comparable situations where nations are emerging, coming to life. And I looked at Vietnam. I mean, Vietnam had been under its own state of oppression for a very long time. In the rule of law state, very similar. This is what we are. We're a rule of law state. We have a constitution. We say the constitution is the supreme law, and that law states that we operate in a parliamentary democracy and that certain fundamental rights and freedoms are sacred, and that we, under this bond, as covenant brothers and sisters, under this bond, we will behave in a particular way. I cannot emphasize how important it is that the principles of democracy and the respect for fundamental rights and freedoms be seen, expressed, and honored at the highest possible level, first and foremost in the Houses of Parliament. If we cannot get it right in our Parliament, it is guaranteed that we cannot get it right anywhere else. If we can't get it right as a nation in Parliament, we cannot get it right anywhere else. It don't matter what you're doing in your home, in your church, in your club, on your veranda in your high-end community, or on the streets in your marginalized communities. If in the Parliament of this land we can't get it right, there is no hope for us. And I am never one to go so far as say no hope. But I'm telling you, we're a condemned and a doomed people if we allow our Parliament to rabidly disregard the rights of those who they are meant to protect and to honor, as just even a demonstration of the truth of who we are. It's unacceptable. I mean, I don't have enough words to tell you how contemptible it is that our Parliament has treated Floyd Morris, whom, when Mr. Morris was appointed as a senator, it looked like it was the right thing to do. And it has turned out that in Parliament, it's tokenism. It's like when you put a lady to lead something, you say, oh, we have a female this. Or when you put a child in a thing,
really,
you
know.
You have no respect for it, no regard for it, no understanding of it. I am ashamed this morning, ashamed of the behavior of Parliament, both sides of the House.
Both sides of the House?
Of course, both the opposition, and because let me tell you, they would not get away with it. Mr. Morris should not be the one to be speaking on this. should not be the one to be rising up in defense of his own rights. I love him for it. I bless him for it. And the truth is, his willingness to do it and the Gleaner's willingness to publish his complaint really is a spark of hope, but it is not nearly enough. So what did happen to Mr. Morris in Parliament? If you haven't read it, I'm speaking on it this morning. Democracy is a process underpinning the very rule of law. Democracy as a process, meaning how decisions are made, the respect that we have for the process itself, not the outcome. The process itself is a demonstration of democracy. Well, as you know, he starts. It is a long article. I cannot read it in its entirety, but I can give you a summary of the facts as best I can. The Road Traffic Act went through a very rapid process for its amendment. And what is more frightening about it is that this was Parliament rushing to protect itself, the state rushing to protect itself. So we know that a judge had granted an injunction concerning
Gavin Goff, who brought something against the constitutionality of the Road Traffic Act. And so she had ruled on it in favor of it. That's all?
Well, put a slightly different way, because you have to be considering the purpose and intent of what they were doing as you analyze this situation. The police had been writing tickets, ticketing persons for fines which were not in keeping with the law.
Okay.
The judge granted an injunction to stop it. Parliament was going further and foreseeing that if this case went to the logical conclusion, if the cause was upheld, then the government would be under some liability to issue refunds for the years of the illegal imposition of this fine. So they are now rushing to amend the law to protect them from such an outcome. Just pick up from what Mr. Morris is saying. He said there was a hastily organized sitting of the House of Representatives to pass a piece of legislation to amend the Road Traffic Act. The amendment was triggered by a court ruling that placed an injunction on penalties for the tickets that were issued by the designated minister post-2006. At first, parliamentarians were told that the sitting was to pass a bill to validate the actions of public officials who had executed their national responsibilities relating to the Road Traffic Act under good faith. And that sounds fine, because it means I couldn't get up and sue the policeman. In law, if you act outside of the legal framework, you become you're open to personal liability. Let's put it that way. So it's been very typical for the government to say, let us validate the acts of the persons who believe that they were acting under proper instruction. It's protecting the individuals. That sounds good. It very quickly changed. So first they were told that. This turned out not to be so. And the shambolic sitting of the Parliament was convened, with the Senate first meeting 10 to 11 a.m. and then adjourned. Then the House of Representatives was convened at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to pass the Road Traffic Amendment Bill. The Senate then reconvened at 2 p.m. to start a new sitting, of which members were required to approve the legislation that was hurriedly passed in the House of Representatives on the same day. He says standing orders require at least 4 days to elapse before a bill is tabled in the Senate. And he goes through what the order says. It has been the practice in the Senate that only money bills brought from the House of Representatives, or those to meet certain international commitments, be given urgent attention. And that was not so for this road traffic thing. He goes on to say that he takes, as we expect, he takes the oath that he swore to participate in the Senate very seriously.
And he quotes it.
And he quotes it. And it ends with a declaration that the person swearing will conscientiously and impartially discharge his responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. And I thank him for repeating the oath, because that is the level of conduct and integrity that we desire from those participating in our business. And shamefully, that is not what we're getting. That is not even what he got from his colleagues in the House. This is an affirmation, he says, that he holds true to, and it requires diligence and time to execute. And then he gave us an
Why did
insight
that?
into his process as a person with a visual disability, with an impairment of sight. He tells you what he does. He has to get, and
Microsoft document.
he has made an express requirement of the House that he be accommodated, and he goes into the requirements of the Disabilities Act. This is something we've done on this show before, and we've talked about the need for accommodation, such accommodation that does not impose an undue burden on either the disabled person or on the government, but reasonable accommodation for persons with disabilities. And I learned through Mr. Morris's article that there are no such accommodations in the House of Representatives. It should be written into the law just the same way we are requiring others to make accommodation in civil life, in the private sector, to deal with persons with disabilities. It is no wonder that the legislation was passed in 2014 and has languished on the books waiting on regulations, because there is no serious commitment or interest in the House of Parliament in making sure that our citizens who suffer from a disability, regardless if it's one person or a million, and you know what? Every one of us will, if we are lucky, experience a form of disability. You know the most common disability that awaits us? Age. If you live long enough, you will be disabled. I'll say more on that later. And age-related disabilities are recognized in the international conventions. Your hearing goes, your sight goes, your mobility goes. So if you sitting there now with your young 40-something self stepping around as if there is no tomorrow, if you sitting there think that you are immune to these challenges, it awaits you if you are lucky. Because if you're unfortunate, you will die young in your wickedness. A foundational principle of disability law and practice is that of reasonable accommodation. And this member of our Senate has made a request in what had to be a private member's motion.
Yeah.
I mean, even that in itself is outrageous. He made a request that documents for him be provided within a certain time so that he can put it through the software that allows him to hear what is in the document. And then he goes through a process of research. And please understand that for a blind person, research has to be conducted in much the same way. I don't know if he's given assistance or staff to help with these things. Even if he has the highest level of assistance, he must internalize and prepare himself to give the level of contribution which we expect from every member of the Senate, whether they are fully able or suffer some level of disability. Well, I echo his words as I close on this part. He says, well, I will continue to demand my rights in the Parliament of Jamaica. If the leader of government business and the president of the Senate had stopped and listened to my privileged motion in 2017 during the debate for NIDS, he feels that we would have been spared some cost and embarrassment, because ultimately, as you all know, the entire bill was struck down as unconstitutional. And he says, this is the price you pay for pomposity. And he ends by saying he makes a statement to Parliament and House of Representatives and the Senate that he never bought his disability. He wears it with a badge of honor as it is a part of his identity. And he's not asking for pity from anyone, and I am offering none here. Not speaking because I feel some pity for the poor blind man in Parliament. There are no poor blind men in Parliament. But what must be made pellucid is that disability respects no one. You may be fully able today and become disabled tomorrow. This is if you're in an accident or something happens, your body fails you in some critical respect. It is therefore incumbent for all to treat persons with disabilities with the sort of dignity that they would want to be subject to if they should develop a disability at a later stage in life. disability is a right, not a fashion. Well, I'm not altogether sure what he means that disability is a right, but I know for sure.
Disability have rights. People with disability
No, he
have...
says disability is a right, not a fashion. If it is correctly represented, asking him to just reach out to me, I
I'd
definitely
love to do an
want
interview
to.
with him.
I want to speak about some of these issues, and I want to understand when we chart a new course, what is the level of work that needs to be done. It is clear to me that our parliament does not have regulations, conventions, principles, safeguards in place to care for those who come to serve and come with a disability.
But I want to stretch it even further.
Stretch it further,
Because
Pastor.
you're thinking in terms of persons in the parliament. But if the parliament represents the highest office in the land and they are not doing it, what do you expect the man in the street to do?
Well,
You're not gonna do
but that-
anything.
yeah,
I mean,
that's-
but and people know as I speak on this program, I have a child with a disability, and it's really been a major struggle. And it is kind of interesting that last night in my class we just spoke about disabilities, the different types of disabilities in terms of the educational system that you have to take care of. And at the end of it, I said to persons, our awareness and our support as a country for persons with that just need to rise in terms of understanding, because it's estimated that much is it? And according to the World Bank, I think 10% of our population are people with disabilities, in all the different types of disabilities that are what is the word?
The commonly known disability.
Not commonly known in terms of described, in terms of defined.
Oh.
In terms of what you have to deal with in the situation. So it's important. It is a hotspot for me, having to deal with it and to encouraging persons. Come on. We have to be more gracious. We have to be more understanding, and our perceptions in terms of people with disabilities really has to change. It cannot continue the way that it is, because you judge a nation based on how it deals with persons who are weak in your society, not the strong, but those who are weak and have challenges, the poor, the widows, you name it, as God,
Orphans,
orphan, yes,
Yeah, the more vulnerable.
the more vulnerable
Yeah.
people. That's how you judge a society.
Yeah.
And if judgment was to be passed on us, we're not dealing well with it at all.
Well, there's an opinion I want to express, and I'm just going to say it with boldness as I need to. Those who are working on the litigation concerning the Road Traffic Act and the amendments, they can see from this article that the very amendment which was pushed through is now unconstitutional.
In the sense, why? Why you say that?
Because if let us take Mr. Morris's complaint to the highest level. He says, based on the above, what he experienced, the treatment and his exclusion
from being a
from
part
the
of the
process.
debate.
Based on the above, he says it is irrefragable that my right to participate effectively in the parliamentary process was violated. And he goes on to talk about the Senator Peter Bunting passionately speaking on it in the Senate. Parliament had just approved the regulations to the Disabilities Act, he says, which continues to suffer.
As
So
he was
for
saying,
me, if the process, because remember now, a fundamental aspect of constitutional law as well as public law is that the process must abide by the basic tenets of natural justice, as well as it must follow the process outlined in the law. And we have two breaches occurring here. We have a member of the House being excluded from participating in it while he was available and ready to do so, because the process was so rushed and so insensitive to the procedures that are set out in the House itself for the passage of legislation. It is now 7 a.m. and it is time for our break. When we come back, we shall dive into some of these matters and a few other things a little bit more. May I just say good morning to those online who have just joined us? I see one of our callers, Wayne, has announced his presence online. He has been graciously greeted by the producer himself. But morning, Mr. Griffiths, Queens, New York, and I look forward to seeing the rest of you come online. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Talking about transportation, transporting the past, the present, and the future generation. Whether taxi, private vehicle, or bike, your two bicycle wheel, them are a hike. Listen up, we go coulda young or you old. Up on the bus, cause we are on the road.
Christmas has come, and if you're like me, you want to make it safely into the new year. So stay tuned for some tips on how to stay safe on the nation's roadways heading into the Yuletide season. I'm Jeremy Lee Nelson.
What I want persons to keep in mind for this Yuletide season is to be their brother's keeper and to also extend generosity and courtesy on the roadway and in everything that we do, especially in the traffic environment. And first, that begins with, taking care of ourselves, in particular motorists, in wearing our seatbelts for not only the front seat passengers, but for back seat passengers, as well as children who need to be belted in using a child restraint or safety harness, car seat.
Acting Director of the Road Safety Unit, the RSU in the Transport Ministry, Deidre Hudson Sinclair. She says one way in which motorists can be responsible as they take part in all the commercial activity that the busy Christmas season brings is by planning.
What we want to ask everybody now is to plan their route, know where they're going, and give themselves adequate time to reach their destination. Because, when we don't plan and we leave late, we tend to be rushing, and when we rush, we speed. And of course, this increases our risk to get into crashes and conflict with other road users, especially when it comes to pedestrians trying to cross the road to get to the other side with disobeying the traffic lights in order to get to our destination.
Pedestrians also have a role to play in keeping the road network safe for themselves and other road users. Mrs. Hudson Sinclair is urging them to practice situational awareness and to be prepared to act at a moment's notice should they spot danger.
Be observant of what's going on around you, because there will be crowding in both plazas and roadways and narrow streetways. To be observant, to look out for vehicles, always walk opposing the traffic space in the vehicle, so you can, if something is happening, you can move, take, preventative action, move out of the way.
Mrs. Hudson Sinclair says visibility is especially important for pedestrians at this time of the year, with it getting darker outside much earlier.
Pedestrians, take action in terms of making sure that roadways are clear and only cross when they are clear. And separate and apart from that, if pedestrians are going to be shopping late into the night and you're going to be walking on the roadway, let's wear white and bright clothing so we can ensure that motorists and motorcyclists and pedestrians can see us when we're traversing the road network.
Having a Christmas that is injury-free with your loved ones going out and making it back home safely is the best gift we can give each other this year.
So, make sure that you want to get the shopping done, but, do it with care. You are aware of where you're going and wear bright clothing. And, we really want to ensure that all our people recognize the season for what it is. It's a time for sharing, for, sending love to all, not only family members, but to just, to our brothers and sisters who we live with our nation, Jamaica. We want to make sure that all of us are safe and we can enjoy this Christmas.
Acting Director of the Road Safety Unit in the Transport Ministry, Deidre Hudson Sinclair. And that's where we're going to let you off for Do Road this week. And remember to help Jamaica meet its vaccination target by getting vaccinated so we can all get back to life. I am Jeremy Lee Nelson, and until next time, you could walk, ride, take taxi or bus. Remember, so we want an accident-free Christmas anytime you do.
day, thousands of travelers pass through Jamaica's airports. Our screening process must therefore be simple and efficient. Through the Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency Border Security Project, we are working to automate screening of travelers and introduce an electronic travel authorization process. All health processes are being integrated into the current border security system. The goal? To provide a world-class system to keep our citizens safe. The Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency, securing our borders, safeguarding our sovereignty.
A station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM, keep listening.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Tune in to Best 100 FM. Join me, your host, Minute Lawrence, on the Morning Connection, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Monday to Thursday. Get ready, get ready.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
Close a long day on a Tuesday afternoon with a great company. While you're heading home, stuck in traffic, or on your way to work. Yes! When life throws you Tuesday, turn up and let it be a True's day. And True's on the air with Tashika Lu, your one-stop, entertaining, inspiring late afternoon show with friendly conversations, song requests, positive affirmation, learn something to improve your health, and submission box when you, my listeners, share your relationship problems.
Hold on. What you just say? You engaged this man for 5 years and I know him can't marry you? Is that prank? No, I don't need that.
Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is heard everywhere.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. So during the break, the co-host said to me, he says, the amendment is unconstitutional. That's a bold statement. So I said, I will repeat it after the break. In my view, and I believe the law supports me, and even if it is a whisper of a chance, it is worth pursuing because these ideas do not come to the fore and gain the kind of traction that we need unless we argue them and put them up for discussion and serious consideration, especially by the judiciary. In my view, if the process by which a law is passed is itself flawed and open to dispute, regardless of the impact on the outcome, that law is unconstitutional. Simply put, it does not conform to the standards or the procedures set down by the supreme law of the land. Now, here's what takes the argument to the highest level. The government side has the numbers to carry just about any decision that has to be made by a simple majority. That being so, do we simply allow the Prime Minister to write law from his desk and send it over to Parliament to be rubber stamped? No, we don't. We observe the process. Even though we know that when it comes down to voting and they vote according to numbers, the outcome is already known. But we never abandon the process. We allow the matter to go through what is expected for public discourse, for debate. The debate is an essential part, and the preparation of those participating in the debate is essential. I rest my case on that point.
You know,
No. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Pastor.
you know better than me, so I don't go into places that I
No,
don't
but
know
how do you
about.
feel? How do you feel in your house? Your vote, let's say your vote is worth 75% in your house for any decision that is being made. If Daddy says it is so, it is so. Do you shut down debate and discourse and consultation?
If I shut it down?
Yes.
No, the process is we talk about stuff. And even though it's Daddy and Mommy have casting vote actually,
Yes.
but mine weighs more. We talk about it and then
Does she know?
does what?
Does she know that yours weigh more? Mommy and Daddy have casting vote, but mine weigh more.
Yeah,
All animals are born equal, but some are more equal than others. Carry on.
They've been talking about Animal Farm.
Yes.
But the thing of it. But we've come to understand, because before we make major decisions, we have major discourse and discussion, and we hear the points, and then because some of the times they have perspectives that other people really don't have in terms of it, and I have to be so careful because remember I'm chief servant, as Daddy. Yeah.
The reason I made it personal to you is because when I spoke citing principles of law, you said, well, you should know, so therefore. And I've just made it personal so you could understand that this principle is not some arcane, sophisticated principle of law that has no bearing on the real world.
Yeah.
It is what we practice in our homes. If we have any kind of I was gonna say democracy, but the truth is some homes are not democratic. Some homes practice other types of government. But if you want to get support for the decisions you make, if you want to safeguard smooth implementation of the decisions that you make, you know that you can't just send out a royal edict from your bedroom or wherever you stay to make law.
Yes, man, I said, this is how it's going to go.
This is how, and slide it under the door and the people fall in line.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. So, okay.
You're being trouble because there's quiet resentment in terms of the decision.
And sabotage because
And
you
people
one
do
man
it.
can't get it all done.
Yeah.
It's the way when we abuse the police but insist on law and order. You talk about escalating crime and violence when you are not taking care of the very troops that you send out. It's a joke.
It's a major thing. So-
Anyway, I am further fortified in that position regarding what we are doing in our houses of
Constitutional
Parliament
report.
by another weekend article, Century-Old Laws Targeted. And this, most interestingly, is a Sunday Gleaner article that came out of the initiative of Sunday Gleaner journalists. They are not quoting anybody who was speaking at some. They went out to look at the issue, and I am grateful to see that level of effort in one of our old conservative newspapers. We, of course, talk about it on this show almost daily. From the day I took this microphone, I have been talking about change, and I've been pushing for legal reform. And of course, Pastor, you on the ecumenical side has joined wholeheartedly, speaking on the circumcision of the heart, which must be the precursor to these changes. 3 persons are being quoted in this attack on the century-old laws. Constitutional and criminal law tutor Glenroy Murray, whom I hope to meet one day soon. Human rights advocate Miss Susan Goff. I remember her husband, Mr.
Goff?
Dennis Goff, Queen's Counsel. I just remember him with such fondness. He was one of my mentors. and Justice Minister Delroy Chuck. And just so you know that the Goff family name is very powerful in this area. Gavin Goff is her son.
Thank you
And
for them
another
going.
son of hers. Oh, no, that's not. Marcos is not her son, but there's another Goff who is working in intellectual property rights at Jaipur. Yes, the Goff family are serious. Law is their business. And for her, human rights, she's not herself a lawyer, but you don't need to be a lawyer to. In fact, I think she's better placed since her humanity shines forth without any disturbance by the law. All right, that aside. So these three persons are quoted in different ways, speaking to the urgent need. I mean, you would think that something is a century old. There can be no urgency associated with it. But really, people, some of these laws, just by virtue of their age, not be amended. They should be repealed, just struck off the books. Don't need it anymore. Start over. If a problem manifests that requires legal intervention, then we address it from scratch, so to speak. Get rid of some of these laws. One law that caught the attention of the group, and they're talking about laws that are 178 years old, and another one, the youngest one, is 125 years old. Of course, there are some others. But this law reform department in the Ministry of Justice, a department which we spoke of a few weeks ago, and we hope to get someone here. But I am tackling these issues systematically before we begin to bring anyone in, because I want our listeners to be aware of, educated on, and interested in some of these topics before we begin to do interviews and before we hit the road on some of these issues. Because if you're caught off guard, you may not have your best idea in the forefront of your mind. I want you to begin to think about these things. There are some laws on our books that just by reason of their vintage should be repealed, not amended. The reason why those laws came into existence were to oppress, to humiliate, and to dehumanize Black people. And those laws they don't exist anymore. One of them is the Town and Communities Act, I think it is called. Yes, yeah, well, I want to quote Mr. Murray, because I think what he says. Now, just remember that we've been talking here about what the Americans call critical race theory, and what I have been discussing elsewhere as post-colonial traumatic triggers, things that we need to get rid of. Murray calls the law colored, having been enacted after emancipation in 1838 with penalties ranging from $4 to $1,200. He said that it was clear that some things used to happen and whatever it is useful can be transformed. I disagree with him. I think you just need to throw all of it out. Don't even look at it to see if anything in it could be useful. None of it is useful. Some of what it criminalizes also kind of reflect certain attitudes about people who were poor and homeless. I would go as far as saying that a lot of the provisions are what a lot of legal scholars call vagrancy laws. They emerged in the post-emancipation era to manage where Black people were. So it's like, what do you do to these large numbers of Black poor people walking around seeking to eke out an existence for themselves? How do you make sure that they are not loitering around our shops? Essentially, it's designed to make sure they stay in their place, argued Murray. That is kind of like how you apply critical race theory. You think of the origin of things, you think of the mindset of those who came up with these ideas, and you take a decision on whether there is any purpose that survives. But here's why I say it should be thrown out. In our jurisprudence, we still use a lot of common law principles to guide decision making in court and in just how if you asked a lawyer for an opinion and the lawyer had to research it to guide you in doing something in your business, the lawyer resorts to the common law body of decisions in order to say this is what the law means, or this is how a particular principle has been applied and interpreted elsewhere. Now, for the most part, we are not looking at local decisions. When you go to the common law, you have available to you every decision of every court in the Commonwealth. You know what the Commonwealth is? Well, you know the Commonwealth countries. But the
countries
Commonwealth are those countries
that
which
were
are
the
bonded
British.
under the British Empire. Okay. And what is the British Empire? Slave traders, whether they're former slave traders or reformed slave traders, white people having to make laws either for themselves with a sense of entitlement or against minorities or poor people in their own society who are treated no better than slaves. When you practice in a Commonwealth jurisdiction and you are drawing on that body of law to support the meaning given to principles that emanate from the same cesspool of antiquity. I know my language is colorful this morning.
That's what I say. Easy off
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
You'll pray for me in the break.
No, I'm not going to pray for you in the bit because you are responsible for what comes out of your mouth.
Yes, and I mean it sincerely,
But
Percy.
no, me know you mean it
When we are
sincerely.
making laws from a place that is contaminated, corrupted, and do not
there-
have
let me-
the
let me
humanity
just-
of the individual at the center of it, when laws are being made with a rule to oppress, to control, to dehumanize, to denigrate, to deny people their rights, it is a cesspool.
All right, let me just show
And I'm
something.
saying that I say throw out those laws, because when you go to look for interpretation of those laws, you are going to draw from a body of work that continues the same oppression,
Let me ask
it's
you
drawn
one
from the
question, though.
same pool. So start afresh.
Is there any place that you know of in the world coming outside of the Commonwealth
Mm-hmm.
that the persons who wrote the law were not using it to control anybody? I'm not coloring it. Is there any place at all? Because my point is that if the heart of the man is wicked and out of it proceed all of the issues of life, there's no place that is really pure. No law that is really pure. Because it set out what are we going to seek to do.
We're not looking for purity in the law, Percy.
But that's
I'm
when
not-
they say
I'm not
when
looking for
it's
purity
a
in the law.
sense when it's a cesspool,
Yes.
it conjures up something that is not pure, that is not clean. That is a challenge I'm having there with what
Yeah,
we have.
but that might be because you were not listening to me.
No,
you
but
were
what
trying
is-
to read the newspaper.
No,
and
I
not
listen.
to
No,
me.
I listen.
Because
I listen.
if you
No,
did,
no,
you would
but-
understand what I'm saying. I'm saying if
No,
you,
wait. I understand clearly what
I'm not
you.
sure you do, because if you
No,
did,
but
you
you, no,
wouldn't
but
say-
you
would
can't
not
tell me
do
that. No, but you can't tell me that I don't understand what you're saying, my sister. I am saying to you.
All right, then I don't understand what you're saying. Let's move on.
No, but you said that, and I'm in agreement with you that what you're saying come
No,
with
but you
cleaner.
switched and went to
no,
talk
no.
about a pure source of law.
No, but you
and
said
you know the
cesspool,
pure
no?
source of law.
Right.
So why you even ask me that is just
No,
to
but that,
provoke me.
no minute. I'm simply saying to you. Okay, you are very emotive this morning. You're very this morning. I'm just saying. Okay.
So are you
then.
doing what men typically do when a woman speaks strongly on a point? You talk about emotive.
That there are laws that need to be changed, and you're saying don't even
No,
bother go
not
back.
changed. Not changed. I say
Change.
you must disregard them, throw them out.
But
Don't
if you
have them.
change- if you
Start
change-
and build from your own environment, your own society, your own principles.
But that in itself
decide
will
on
cause
what you
problem.
want.
But that in itself
How
will
can
cause
it cause problem?
Because even
What do you think emancipation means?
setting free.
So when you are free, where do you begin? You choose where you want to start from.
Yeah, but
and
that-
then you are held accountable based on what you've
But
chosen.
the thing that you're saying with that, my sister, is that even people who are emancipated still carries some vestiges from the past into the present. And
By
even,
choice.
Yeah, but
You choose what you want to
everything
carry
we
forward.
do is by choice. But even in that, even if you're choosing, you're still going to have that at the back of your thinking in terms of your perception as to
But
what is
if
good
we
or not.
choose to carry it forward, it's a choice we make, and we're bound by it, and we're accountable by it.
All right.
What
But-
you're suggesting now, is that we can't start afresh. We can't say, I'm done with that. I'm starting from here. That's what you're saying.
And I'm saying that even if you're done with that, starting afresh, even decisions that you made will be colored by what
There's no
has happened in
problem
the
with
past.
that because
Okay.
you've chosen to do so.
Okay.
You've
Right.
chosen
So
to do
we
so.
have basically come to a common understanding
No,
that
well, it
even that
seems
we
that
collide.
now you understand what I'm saying.
No, Lord Jesus. it is how we are on this program. Yes, go
No,
ahead.
not we. This is Pastor Percy, doing what he ought to do. So, the point I'm making is that we have some ancient legislation which need to be got rid of. We have two persons from the public sector speaking on it, and the person who seems most daunted by this need is the Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, who says there are a huge number of laws on the books that need updating. Many of them go back centuries. He noted that laws are driven by policies, but said that there was a general malaise for policy-driven laws. What that means is beyond me. We out here are clamoring for policy-driven laws, as if we don't want it. We're lazy. We don't want to think through it. We want to do probably what you came dangerously close to saying. We want to hang on to the relics and let other people's output speak for us. No, I said you came dangerously close to saying it. Dangerously close. A shortage of draftsmen in the system caused by a number of factors, including unattractive salaries, is also posing a challenge. This is the voice of the man who is the current Minister of Justice. Where are we going with this? When you put it against Senator Morris's experience in Parliament, where his needs, his requirements for participation were just ignored, thrown out the window, so that a piece of legislation could be rushed through the House. They didn't suffer for draftsmen on that occasion. When the government wants to do something for the protection of the state, for its own survival, they have the energy and the time to do it. But these century zero legislation are languishing on our books. And every now and then somebody will pull one out when they want to frustrate us in going about our lawful business.
Yeah.
It ought not to be that way. We should speak against it, stand against it. And if we want to be emotive and if we want to go over the top to get rid of them, I would have just get up. This Justice Minister has every opportunity to do that. They have a catalog of every law and regulation that's been passed in this country from the time we began to put things to paper. And I don't mean we, from the time the Queen and the monarchy was in charge of our affairs. They can do it.
Can I shift
Yes.
a little bit?
It is good. It's a good time to shift.
So therefore, as my advocate has said to us this morning, there needs to be change. In your own words, we need to throw out, we need to do real constitutional change, not reform, you are saying. And so, in coming up with
sorry, say that again, please. Because
we need to come up with constitutional change, not reform. I don't want to reform the Constitution. You are suggesting that we have a new...
I was saying there are some legislation that we need to repeal, just throw out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I'm even taking it to a bigger level.
Okay, well, as you said, don't put words in my mouth. Make your own. Make your own declaration.
No, we need a new constitution.
Somebody say I must make you talk. Sure, says Noel Shah. Sorry, Noel.
No, but that is how she's when she becomes that way. So allow her to speak. I know I'm speaking. We need a new constitution.
Yes, you need. Yes.
And what I'm hearing you saying, and I'm clarifying, is that the new constitution must pull from what it is that the people need. Is that correct, my dear lady? Need to move forward as a nation that will promote.
Engineer say I must agree with you.
Driving. No, I don't want you to agree with me. I don't want you to agree with me. I'm just simply saying where we pull from in terms of the Commonwealth. There are some great things that are happening in the Commonwealth of law that we have. Isn't that true?
There are some more.
Great things that are happening in the Commonwealth of law that we have that we can pull from in terms of framing our new constitution.
Yes, there are things that you can choose. Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I'm saying when you made that statement about Commonwealth and cesspool.
I think in some respects, I took it for granted that you understand how precedent-based law works.
No, I don't remember.
And yes, and I
this
forget
is-
that you're still
and
because
people out there.
yeah, because take for example, decisions that come from the Privy Council, because they are the highest court for Jamaica.
Mhm.
Any decision that comes out of the Privy Council is binding on us.
Okay,
When I say, you know what I mean when I say binding,
Mhm.
you have to decide it the way they decided it.
that's correct.
Right. And sometimes you're in court and you explain a thing that is relevant locally, and the judges will look at you and say, well, you need to go to the Privy Council and get them to say that.
Okay. And so people need to understand that, you know. That
We'll
is
talk
why,
about that,
and that is why we need to become a republic.
Yeah.
That is
we-
one
we
of the
have to-
greater things to become a
We have
republic.
to chart our. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because we'll talk about it after the break. It
But
is
that's
an
important because
point.
not
It
only
is.
me alone,
All right,
it's the
let's take
people
the
we're
break
talking
'cause
to, who we are
engineer is
communicating
ready
to.
for us to
Yeah, man.
rest our lungs.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM. Keep listening.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
This is Madam Michelle, and I want to take time out to big up all our artists link up, kings and queens. Artists link up, one name.
When I'm in town, I tune into Best 100 FM, ALU, with Madame Michelle, every Monday at 6 p.m. This is some of the best music. This program is sponsored by Gel Music Records, Kalanji Music, and Bad Bull Productions. Madame Michelle was born playing music. On Best FM 100.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Best
Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Connection. So it got, there was some crosstalk earlier, for which I certainly apologize in the event that you did not get to hear the fullness of what either of us was saying. Yeah, okay. But just
talk
to
about
do
law.
a slight recap, I was speaking to Pastor about the dangers of keeping old legislation in an environment where we are applying precedent-based law analysis and where our highest court is a foreign court. On the cultural side of it, so let me talk about the legal side of it. We have a petty sessions court in Jamaica where the justices meet, and they are bound by the courts above them, which would be the parish court, the revenue court, the traffic courts. Above those courts, and if I've left out any, my apologies. Above those courts, you have the High Court, which is the Supreme Court. It sits on circuit court, and you have the Constitutional Court is a very powerful court. 3 to 5 judges meet. It really is akin to the appeals court, but it sits on constitutional matters, and you can appeal from that court to the Court of Appeal. Above that level, you have the appeals court. Court of Appeals, 3 judges sit. Single judges can hear some cases. But above the appeal court is the Privy Council. This now is the foreign court. because we continue to be in the Commonwealth and we are bound by our highest court is a foreign court, it means that the common law or precedent based law, meaning these are decisions of a court which are based on principles of law, not necessarily, in fact, not found in statutes. It's not statute based law. It comes out of what people do over time, how decisions are taken, and it reflects culture
Right.
much more than it reflects written law.
And even as people are saying, as it reflects culture more than written law, that is one of the main arguments of why we should do it with the Privy Council and have the Caribbean Court of Justice as our final court of appeal. That makes sense.
That makes sense, right?
So
But and also it means that the culture that you will find being reflected in
England
your precedent now will be based on a Caribbean culture, Jamaican culture. Similarly, it
Trinidadian,
means,
yeah.
but if you have someone in a petty sessions court looking at 1800 case coming out of England, which is what happens when you are now drawing on the wealth of common law jurisprudence to understand principles and to make decisions. That's the cesspool to which I referred.
Okay.
I'm saying you are drawing from a contaminated pool where the culture that underpins those decisions, the way they see life, the way they value human relations, does not give any primacy or supremacy to who you are and how you think. If you were to just take those out of the basket and begin to build your new set of laws now based on what is happening in your society, who you see yourself as, where you're trying to go to, my view is then you have something to which you can be held accountable. There's nothing more frustrating than in a case and you're discussing an issue and somebody come, and the government in particular like to do it, and they bring some case from 1879. What was going on in Jamaica with black people in 1879?
No, you see, no, we're having
Yeah.
a better understanding, because that's why Proverbs 4:7 says, in all I get with, and more anything get understanding. So we have a better understanding.
Yes, and
so
for
we are,
me-
yes, it's understanding. So I'm better understanding
Yeah.
what it is you were saying, and I'm in agreement with that.
No, man, I understand.
Yeah, man.
We
so-
have to have our own little excitement in here.
Excitement, you call it. But I think that brings a lot of light to the situation, because if you were to say, like, if the British Privy Council, which is our highest court at this point in time, that's why there's a greater push for us to become a republic. So we're removing the Queen as our head of state. Then it allows us to do things that will cause for us to go forward with a greater confidence in our ability to determine our future and all of that.
You know what I left out? I left out the Industrial Disputes Tribunal,
Which is
which is an important
yeah.
court. It's a quasi-judicial body. But do you know what is, for me, most disappointing about it? We use codes of conduct and guidelines and to inform important principles
And
relationships,
which is the
in-
worker-employer relation, which is a
Yes.
major thing, because
Listen,
that
man, we need
continues to
laws.
have,
We
that
need
continues
laws.
to have vestiges of
Colonial,
colonialism
yes,
and
yeah.
background
With
master.
some of those things that we're calling code of conduct, we need to elevate it to statute and begin to create decisions and our own body of precedents that speak to these issues, because we think it is important enough. When it's important enough, it steps out of being code of conduct and it becomes law. There are some very important relationships that we don't go beyond codes of conduct because we don't truly want to be accountable. Employment related matters is one of them. And in banking, we use code of conduct to deal with banker customer relationships. Similarly, when it comes to public utilities, we like to use code of conducts. And some of these utilities are essential to life, and we should be doing better by them. I see Taki mentioning that former PM PJ Patterson was on live yesterday dealing with, he was speaking to Erwin Clare in New York. I remember Erwin Clare quite well. The former prime minister has got a new lease of life, and he's speaking on some important things. And I, for one, I'm not going to bash him and say you were there 18 years, why you never do it. Sometimes the revelation hit you late in life, And the important thing is that you have the courage to get up
That's why I
and
always
deal
believe.
with it.
That's why I always speak of redemption. You're not writing it off. You said somebody can have a Damascus Road experience.
Absolutely. At
and we
whatever
believe in
age.
that
Yeah,
to
we
bring
believe
that
in
to
it.
chair.
All right. So coming out of last Thursday's interview, I have to ask you, what was the highlight of the discussion for you with Courtney Campbell?
The whole relationship to purpose and how that drives in terms of your values, and the fact that holding themselves accountable, doing constant monitoring and evaluation, and putting people at the center of what they do. That just came on very strong to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with
John Andre now.
and then with I call it a divine connection in terms of John Andre, and him was on the program, and the fact that John Andre company had done to transform me that they're running now, as they've rebranded the VM, just a VMBS, but VM Group in terms of what they're doing. And I just, one of the things that John Andre spoke to, and I found it instructive, was the fact that he said, we've been talking about using culture to drive our economy. Yeah, and what he said in terms of the government being facilitatory, and the idea of setting up the studio.
Yes,
that was
open
important.
access.
That people who are creative that way are not bound or frustrated by the lack of access to a creative space where they can come up with music or different things. And if we say, and the World Bank has
confirmed it in their report,
that our people, and we keep saying it, but our greatest resource, but we don't really treat them that way there.
Well, two things from me, and I start with John Andre first because you just touched on the big point for me. He said that his generation sees that we have reduced the wealth of natural resources to just insignificant proportions. There is nothing left for them to make money from in the environment. In fact, they need to fix things, and I'm paraphrasing a bit. That too is another World Bank conclusion in the Changing Wealth of Nations, that we have leveraged current resources, natural resources, heavily, and depleted what is available for generations to come. So John Andre made that observation that when they look around, they see almost everything done, spent off, use up, and we are in a deficit, or we are in trouble. And then he made the big point that therefore for him, the creativity of the people, which is boundless in size and scope, remains the great asset for future growth and prosperity. That was a big point that we pulled out of him in the conversation. And then now for Courtney Campbell, there were two big things for me. One, we do talk about purpose and the beginning of things. It had been on my mind when we were talking about reverse mortgage. What is the future of this product? Did it come from a good place, doomed and therefore can survive, or is it doomed to die because it came from a cesspool? Word of the day. And he gave the history of the building societies and spoke about the plurality of the first group that sat down. The Jews were there, the Catholics were there, the Anglicans were there.
An ecumenical thing.
The beginning of the building society movement came out of
what was happening in England.
Church people wanting to see ownership of homes taking place in the local landscape as it had occurred elsewhere.
Because it says it was like 40 years after emancipation.
So that was, of course, I don't know who they were thinking. Were they really thinking of black people? Anyway, they were thinking of people. And the second big thing coming out of the conversation with him is on the personal side now, his own commitment to empowerment of people, wanting them to own a home, to build a financial portfolio, and to be investment oriented in their thinking as they prepare for retirement and so on. Those two interviews are available on YouTube. I think we have cut them out of the overall 4-hour show. Have we? I think.
We don't cut them out yet, but
they're in segments of the show. You can find them. It is very much a plan on our side to have more in-depth discussions, both with the young of the nation as they prepare to take the reins, and with those who are in positions of leadership now. The princes of the nation are big in our agenda. All right, we're marching closer to 8 o'clock, and there are just 2 points that I want to go through. Pastor, this is how I described it, and I will definitely need your help for this part. Generosity as the key to spiritual and economic growth. Generosity, giving. I was drawn to a little passage from 2 Corinthians.
A major passage. Whatever a man decides to give with purpose. Yes.
And then let me just find it. This is where I said I needed your help, but you're not taking me on.
You mean to find it? I thought you were just going to say it and then we would have a discussion.
No, I want to do more than just say it, if you don't mind.
You want to apply the principles? A discussion of the principles.
Let me find it. All right. Okay. It starts with it is this letter to the Corinthians in which generosity is being encouraged. Remember this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. This is a principle that works regardless of whether you're a capitalist or a socialist or a poor person or a rich person. If you sow sparingly, whether you are a company or an individual, if you sow sparingly, you reap sparingly. Whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work, as it is written, they have freely scattered their gifts to the poor. Now, a lot of times when we hear this being read or said, or whatever way we decide to work it into daily life, we think of financial giving.
It's everything.
It is whatever your gift is. My gift is to communicate, to share on matters of law and commerce, and your time and the effort that you invest in the giving is what makes a difference. So I have coined a little heading, a statement: generosity as the key to both spiritual and economic growth. What and how to give. And then I wanted to look at the politics of giving, where sometimes the appearance of virtue becomes more important than the virtue itself, which is a Machiavellian principle. That giving sometimes virtue, the practice of virtue, can sometimes imperil the state, where, for example, if you're a welfare state and you are giving out more than you're producing and putting in, then everybody's heading to bankruptcy. The state is jeopardized.
Really?
If you're giving more than you're putting back in.
Oh, you're talking about pensions and NIS.
For example, there you go.
But
there
it's
you
true.
go. There you go.
It's a principle.
It's a principle.
You must have a point of
replenishment
of homostasis. You can't be giving out
more than
than you're getting in. That is very irresponsible, and that is happening in a lot of countries now.
But you see, someone might say, but it's virtuous to give.
No, it's not. If you do it moderation.
It's not virtuous to give.
Not to give in that way. If you're going to do
Good.
have to be careful.
So how to give
is an important thing.
Important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, as you have said, it is key. There's a law of sowing and reaping. That is a law that is not a spiritual law, the universe they call it. You sow, you reap. In the Proverbs it says, cast your bread upon the waters and it will come back to you in due season. So you put it out there, you're helping people, and you don't know what happens in the future, which is why even in terms of your acts that you do to people are very, very important. Some of us, we only do it because we're expecting to get something. And that can't be right.
So that's the appearance of virtue.
Yeah, you because you're expecting, you do it because you're expecting to get something. Jesus says, give your alms, don't come like some people out and you say them a give and they make a big show of it. He says, give it. You don't have to make a big show of it, because he's going back to what is your heart condition. What are you seeking to achieve? Are you trying to, as we said, be generous and blessing somebody who is really in need, or are you doing to say, see all of the good thing we may do, because you want people to think of you in a certain way, and your heart condition is not good at all. Because we often speak about motivations of the heart. That's why it says, what you have decided in your heart to do, then do it. Not be under compulsion, because even in some churches, you hear about sow this seed and that will happen.
Yes.
Manipulation. Manipulation is akin to
that's
witchcraft.
an important point you're making there about these places where the sowing of the seed is to secure a return.
Yeah.
So a return on investment becomes a principle in your giving when it ought not to be. And so your giving becomes, it's like it neutralizes it now. It's of no moment.
But you see, the thing balances about it is that you're giving based on a principle, but your motivation for giving is off. But then you're following the principle of sowing a seed that is in your heart.
Yeah, but let us.
And
let's-
I'd say it's a
let's
balance
elevate-
with the- yeah,
Let's
it-
elevate the thinking a bit. If you give, give cash, but you give it in expectation of a return of cash, or some other. Say you're a corporate citizen and you give something over here, and you are rushing to claim your tax credit
Exemption,
or
yeah.
exemption on the other side of the divide. I think you have sort of neutralized the giving.
Okay.
That's my view.
Okay.
You have neutralized it. It's as if you hadn't moved at all.
Right.
But if you're a good, obedient, law-abiding citizen, other things will come to you, but
True.
it won't be because of that giving. Because we do see companies that are in the media a lot having given, and so on, and then you see them bankrupt down the hall.
Bankrupt,
at the
or
same
they're not
time-
treating their employees well.
Right,
They're
because at the
forced
same
equal as
time, there you go. So there's a credit, there's a debit
Credit
credit
debit.
that is running constantly in many ways. So you will get, but you are going to get what you sow. So if you have done a contaminated giving, the harvest will be contaminated in one way or another. You might reap the harvest and it fly out the window. As they say, you put it in a pocket with holes or a purse with holes, because the heart was not in the right position. And that's part of what we're talking about here when we say generosity as a key to spiritual growth and to economic growth. Because in giving into society, giving and the gifts we give now need to be appropriate to the occasion and for the purpose of truly blessing and elevating your brother.
And lifting up people.
Yes.
Yeah. You
so,
know,
so the man who come to you and wants a coat and you give him a blessing and he leaves you cold or wet or naked, you
that's
have
not true
given.
faith. That isn't.
Yes.
Yeah, because it says in James, when he was taught what is true religion, he was saying, come on, this is true religion. Widows,
Orphans, the
the vulnerable.
Yes.
And it says, even you're giving, you says, you show me your works, show me your faith by the works you do. And it says it has to be balanced. Because some of the times, I've seen that happen even in a personal way. And we see it with our parents growing up. You would often say that your mother would always have more than enough food that if somebody would come by and somebody need, or she would say, Carrie, let's go give ma something.
Yeah, because she knows there's an old man who don't cook for himself.
And in terms of community, because generosity engenders community in terms of us helping each other and growing in terms of the oneness that is needed. So the giving helps that in a way, in terms of letting us understand. And the early church had a thing that was called koinonia in Acts. In Acts 4, the word and the sharing, the fellowship, the swallowship that you always laughing at me about when
The
you say
swallowship.
the swallowship. But there was in that whole thing where everybody's need was met. And even those who had would bring it
to share.
And then you remember too, somebody tried to manipulate that process, Ananias and Sapphira. They had a piece of land. Everybody was in a spirit of generosity giving. And then these come in and say, we buy the land because we want to make a show.
Yeah, we'll sell our land
And he comes
give
and
the
they
proceeds.
say, but when it belonged to you, it was yours. We don't come and say, give us all. You sure? And they say, yeah, man. and him just drop down dead. It speaks to motivation.
Yeah.
What is your motivation in terms of giving?
And here comes an interesting question which will cap it quite nicely. Michael Cohen is asking, at what point does giving becomes throwing pearls to swine? So this is the how to give.
So your giving must be purposeful. Your giving must be have the right motivation, and then you have
But
to.
you have to talk about the swine.
The swine.
Who are the swines?
The swine in that context, or people were not grateful for what was happening, and as it were, you're giving them something that they weren't appreciative of.
Yeah, and they turn around and gore you.
Yeah.
But the
You have to be wise in your giving.
In your giving, the how
because
to
some
give
of
becomes important.
some of us, because we say we are wise, we see people in need. Like, okay, let me share with you the experience that I have. Take for instance in Jamaica, these young men, these children. No, it was young men. No, it became. You see a lot of children begging at the stoplight, or that is how they are hustling. And people say, move. But you know what? Why? You know, I can just strike up a conversation with people. And in talking to a lot of those young men, even though some of them are addicted to drugs and things, and that's how they keep their habit going. I remember there's this one young man, he died, and he had on a t-shirt says, may I clean your windscreen for you? And behind of it says thank you. And I talked to him one day, and he said, see, the alternative to doing this, because I can't be employed, is the fact that I'd have to take up the gun in terms of the community. So I'm doing this to earn an honest bread in terms of taking that option to do otherwise. I remember also interacting with a young man. I said, well, you're not at school. He said, boss, we need a tablet, and I don't have a tablet. So this is how I am hustling to get the thing. And some of the times you don't know the stories, but you saw it. This is me personally, because for me it's the right thing to do. And I remember, my son, this is an experience. I drive up and they know that you do it. And one time I had some money there, and the guy came and I tell him I don't have no money. My son looked at me and said, Daddy, you so lie. I said, what do you mean, son? He said, but you had the money right there, because your children watch you, And I said to him, no, that money is not my money to give away. And he said, oh, because they watch your behavior. So what am I saying in regards to that? For me, who is led by the Spirit of God in terms of giving, if I have it to give, I give, I release it. I don't know where it's going, but in most instances, I believe it is to meet a need in regards to what an individual has. And even at church, some of the time, people come and scam. Them are run a scam. And some of the times, what we've had to do is to do real investigation to see if it is a real need that the person have, or them just think it's a source of easy touch.
All right, I want to attempt an answer to the question from two perspectives, and we only have a minute. Who are the swines? The swines are those unbelieving persons who are not at the level of, if they've not evolved to the point where they can make meaning or can honor the value of the gifts you give to them.
That's true.
But in determining who are the swines, one has to be careful not to be judgmental in the way that we are challenged not to pass judgment on those who are different from us. So it's a very important question to identify the swines. Once you have correctly identified the swine, and the point at which you stop giving to them is when you know that they are swines. So once you see that a person is abusing the gift, or using it to in some way that is unproductive both to them and to society, you stop. So you discover the fraud, you stop, like with all the corruption in government. But who the giver can be an individual or a state or the entity. If you are a state, meaning you are now in charge of public funds, then the giving has to be guided by those principles of transparency and fairness that inform giving. And sometimes as a state, you will give to swines because you don't have you don't have that ability to make certain judgments, and persons, you can't discriminate against the recipients until you have some clear basis on right. So even at the state level, you still have to include checks and balances to ensure that you can deal with the swines appropriately. On the personal level, you are again, you are a custodian of whatever it is God has given you, and you also have to be careful that you don't give to swines and they trample you. Here, you still have to move, I think, under the same principles of awareness and discernment, so you're not wasteful in
because some of the
how you
times
give your gift.
One of the things, just to add to that, most of the times I don't walk around with money, which is not mine to give.
Yeah.
Because I've had to learn to develop boundaries.
Yes.
And as somebody said, why you don't walk with me? I said, because if somebody asks me,
and you don't want to be tempted to cross a line
and tell them
out of need because you see a compelling need.
Right. And
but can I say this was very alive in my spirit yesterday. I know it's time for the break, but I'll say this before we take the break. It was very alive in my spirit yesterday that all of us are in the hand of God, that none should perish. And therefore, in our walk, we are each of us being given opportunities divinely to grow and to make changes.
To become
so
wise.
There are times when I will see the markings of a swine on your, person. But I need to take a chance that this may be your opportunity to change. And you always have a chance with me. That's how I am. I will always take the chance that you may change on this occasion. And after that, it is you and God. Let's take the break.
And I do it all the time.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. The UN Human Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet has called for the immediate release of Myanmar's deposed civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi after a military-controlled court sentenced her to 4 years in prison. Ms. Bachelet said the trial was a sham and would only deepen rejection of February's military coup. Ms. Suu Kyi was found guilty of inciting unrest and violating COVID restrictions during last year's election campaign. Jonathan Head has more details.
She was found guilty on the first count of violating COVID restrictions, apparently because an event where she waved at supporters while she was actually wearing a face mask and a face shield during last year's election campaign. I think, to be honest, all the charges that have been piled up against her, the details hardly matter. The court process is so untransparent and so widely condemned and so manifestly in violation of normal judicial procedures that everyone sees this as a political device. This is just the first verdict in what is expected to be a whole rolling series of verdicts that could put her in prison for more than 100 years.
Emergency crews in Indonesia have been forced to suspend their search for 27 people missing after a volcanic eruption. More from Celia Hatton.
Rescuers said they had no choice but to call off their search because of strong winds and the threat of more hot ash raining down from Mount Semeru, the biggest volcano on the island of Java. It erupted suddenly on Saturday after heavy rains had caused its lip to partially collapse, unleashing lava and ash that killed at least 15 people. Others are being treated for life-threatening burns. Local officials say there's not much more time to find anyone still alive. They need to dig through the volcanic mud to reach possible survivors before the ground cools and hardens.
President Putin is visiting Delhi today for a summit with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two are expected to sign defence deals, including the delivery of fighter planes. With more, here's Rajini Vaidyanathan.
Russia is India's largest arms supplier. Much will be made today of the sale of S-400 surface-to-air missiles, which are now being delivered here. The US has said it's unhappy with India over this purchase and has threatened sanctions against it. But Delhi's strategic importance in countering China in the region might be why it's unlikely to take action.
New coronavirus restrictions have come into force in Italy, some of which target unvaccinated people. Unless they've recently recovered from infection, unvaccinated Italians can no longer sit inside restaurants and cafes. They're also banned from big event venues. Everyone must now show a COVID green pass to use hotels and local public transport. The measures will be in place till at least the middle of next month. World news from the BBC. The President of South Africa says the country is preparing for more hospital admissions as the Omicron coronavirus variant continues to spread to become a fourth wave of infections. In his weekly newsletter, President Cyril Ramaphosa says the number of daily infections has increased fivefold over the last week. He urges South Africans to get vaccinated, calling it an urgent priority. Nigeria has become the latest country to be added to Britain's travel red list, which imposes stringent coronavirus testing and quarantine restrictions on those entering the country. 10 southern African countries are already listed. Ishaq Khalid is in Abuja.
The information minister has just addressed the press here in Abuja, and he said that this is unjust, unfair, and indefensible. And this is the anger in the official cycle. If you look at the country as a whole, there is also a sense of patient to quarantine for 10 days.
The leads of the Afar and Amhara regions. Debretsion Gebre-Mikael said he did not want to give details of why the Tigray Defense Forces had pulled back at a time when they were closing in on the capital Addis Ababa. The federal government last week announced it had seized key territory from the TDF. At least 3 children, 2 brothers and their sister, have been killed in the collapse of an apartment building in Egypt. 3 other siblings were also hurt. Another 6 more injured people were rescued from the collapsed 2-story apartment building in the province of Beni Suef. BBC News.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM, keep listening.
One in.
A hurricane we name. Are we rough? Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you to know that. We come here to mash up building, blow down things and take life. Flood out place. We no ramp. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare.
Hurricanes do happen, so be prepared. Yes, be prepared. A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Best 100.5 FM brings you youth empowerment and resilience, a 30-minute program with Royton McLaren every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Your Monday nights will not be the same again. Managing stress, trauma? Let's talk on youth empowerment and resilience with Royton McLaren on Best 100.5 FM every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The Best 100 FM. Check out the Better Vibes right here on Java Jamming on Best 100 every Monday from 7 to 10 p.m. We have got music for your mind, body, and soul, entertainment, information on Java Jamming from 7 to 10 p.m. every Monday on Best 100, the Better Vibes.
Wagwan.
Guten Tag.
Buongiorno. We are
The Kingstones.
I think I love you best FM because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you best FM because you're better than the rest of them.
Tune in to Best 100 FM. Join me, your host, Minute Lawrence, on the Morning Connection, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Monday to Thursday. Get ready, get ready.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Anyone I ever met. I'm stuck on
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Best FM.
Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Connection. This is your host, Minute Lawrence. Percy and I are ready to welcome you as you call us. The numbers to call, you know them, 876-619-1508, 876-279-8473. Give us a call, please. We have been talking about several things here and it's gone, it's ranged from we haven't even touched on what is on the front page of your newspaper, the $100 million US dollars gap. What has been identified as funds to be accounted for with Clarendon Alubina Partners. What's happening? I mean, honestly, sometimes I don't lose sight of the importance of it because the numbers. There's a point at which you become numb to the numbers. $100 million US dollars is a lot of money. It was said in a previous report on it that the government has paid $200 million US dollars into this project, and here there's talk of $100 million that requires explanation. And then there's RADA embroiled in what looks like.
And the board said them nah resign.
And yes, remember I told you about this habit you have when the minister changed, everybody must resign.
They said they nah resign. They said they did nothing wrong.
Stand firm on your position and let's deal with it. We have a first call. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, my brother, my sister. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. Good morning to you. How are you?
My back. How we doing? It's not how I doing because we have family. And our families and friends are well too, right?
Excellent. Well, I tell you, we keep being hopeful. So I hope you share the hope that we are feeling this morning.
From the other day, I try to get to know, can't get through.
I'm so glad to hear you this morning. So let's use the time.
Yeah, man, speak well.
Tell us what's been happening.
Why, so much things I don't even know.
I thought about you the other day, I thought about you the other day when a caller spoke about a dog whistle and said that a certain statement by the Prime Minister could have a particular effect. And I remember you saying that the Prime Minister, when he was a candidate, had stood on a podium with a sign that said, what was it, 1980?
Yes.
And I said, that was a dog whistle moment, but I didn't know the phrase at the time. Anyway, go on, share with me this morning.
All right, what I'm saying, Mr. Chung, right?
Mm-hmm.
The crime is so bad in Jamaica. I'm not lie. I'm afraid for myself, I'm afraid for my brother and my sister them out there. For real. And Flow and Digital have a problem with people that steal up them things all the while. Why them don't come together with them and the police, Mr. Chung, and have some videos, have something. What them call it again?
What, the CCTV, the closed circuit TV?
We lose so much money for one digital, and we lose so much life, and there's nothing we're not doing to stop it. You understand? The camera, them buy some drones, get some drones. You understand? That means that the drones, them can't see what's going on. In every parish, every police station, have a set of drones in a there. You understand what I say?
Better use of technology, yes.
Yeah, they must spend whole for money on this, whole for money on that, and all them things there. The Zozo now. Them upon the highway, them and them way. They're in the community, them for there. Them for there in the community, them for there in the road. When them lead out for the highway or what, them for there, the entrance, them are the community. You understand? That means anything that come in and I go out, them search them right there. And them there, and them search yard and them things that them not fit. I lock up nobody illegally and them kind of things there. You understand? Just put this, because the gunman them afraid of the president and the police and soldier them so much. You understand? You have some there, so then you have some shots fired. Them they're too far to run them down and catch them. You need them everywhere in the community.
Well, I think a member of a community that has a certain level of violence in it saying that we want to see more of the police here, and I think that is something that our Commissioner of Police must be taking quite seriously.
Listen, them need to take them a put them on highway and all them kind of way there. Them know why in the community them are shoot up. And I in the sort of guns there. Them forgot.
Let me ask you a question. What would be, from your perspective, you're saying we need more policing in the communities, I call it community policing, but what is the role and responsibility of the community members in terms of helping the police? Because you know the gunmen are now. You know where the guns are. You know the. Let me ask you a question. Are they afraid of liaison with us in the community?
By more than one person. I can tell they'd be welcomed by you.
Yes, they will. The people are afraid that the police them, and I'm afraid that the gunman them too. But it says the police them and soldier come in and come talk to the people them and them kind of things there. Them will know more.
Okay.
I agree with you.
You have some people who screech here who say something.
Okay.
No, I do agree with you that citizens can take comfort by the presence of police that's responsive to them, talking to them, and just sharing with them, and it being a team effort. Thank you for your call, my dear. I appreciate it.
Listen, one more little thing.
All right, talk it quick for me.
Let me say it quick. You have a brother out of Pearland. Them shoot up what them kill up most people, and them go for them phone and them a ball. And I say, I want to leave because I'm going to him next. But through the bills, them, the rent, and them good things there. It's like, you see, I know they're in next them kill.
Wow.
Oh, may I tell you, man, people want to leave, but it's hard
to find a new place.
And for the police, them needed, and soldier, them needed in the community.
Well, I do hope they are listening, and that when they make a move and they come in, the community will welcome them. All right, my dear. Thank you very much for calling. Oh, she's saying something to you.
I'm listening, my dear. I'm listening.
Listen, I'll come back to you one day in about 2 hours. We already used up the time.
Yeah, man, no problem. You're always welcome. Bless you.
Door is open.
Take care of all of my brothers and my sisters out here.
All right, then. Bless you.
God bless. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How was your weekend?
Good enough.
And your daughter good?
Yeah.
Good. Wonderful.
Good. We talked this morning about the head, the leaders.
Yes.
If we don't fix them, the problem not going to fix nowhere, right? If we don't deal with it,
we can't get it right in Parliament.
We're not going to get it right in the rest of places of this society. Yeah. All right. So, knowing that and seeing that there are big problem up there, not even the police not going to do them job properly or if them in the community then.
Yeah, it's what we're seeing.
But that's what I know too. You understand me? And so when the Empress attack, I understand what she say, I understand her point of view, and I know it can be good, but if the head not proper, trust me, not for the police them not proper too. You understand me? Enough of the youth down there, I get influence from them. Yep. And it starts from them. Because I can't tell them I look youth I grew up in a Kingston, some things I learn from bigger man. When I boy just I left school or before left school, big man who left school I grew up here, I tell me how things start. When them know.
Yes.
You can listen to enough musicians and hear them tell you about things to Bounty Killer, Bob Marley, you hear them talk about the ghetto life and them experience with politicians and things. So, you see, me keep looking into it and then I say, all right then, what is the best way to approach this situation? Because probably them not want to change up there, because them safe. For them you could save them safe. So, to me, and the youth them down there, them less educated and have less financial background. So, the best way to change it to me, I come in a middle. Those in a teachers, nation have more education and probably more stronger than the poor when I do have Peter land.
And the middle has the ability to reach above and below.
And below. So we have to be careful of what we're doing if we have a fall below or they can reach above and make the change.
And make the change.
Yeah. One more thing now, because me I say the spiritual communication powerful, because you see me there reach you look, you know.
Yes.
And I read when Jesus I said, sell everything you have and give it to the poor.
Give it to the poor.
And I said, never call you and ask you, how would you properly analyze that, you know, because, all right, so don't have a little wealth.
Yes.
And couple piece of properties and things, and I sell everything and give it to the poor. And then I'm food, wear clothes, and tomorrow, and next week, and next month, everything gone again.
Yep.
Both them and me are in a bad position.
Yep.
Right, that's
yes,
so true.
Those are the swines.
So I don't think that is what, I don't think that's the proper interpretation Christ is in my mind when he got that sound there.
No, he was
You
speaking
understand
about idolatry. He said to the young man who asked him the question, he knew the man was rich, and he recognized that that's a
That was
man
idol.
whose riches would stand between him and the kingdom. Him say, sell what you have. For me, if it's not riches that takes
other
center
things. You
place
have
in my
woman, you
heart,
have car,
it might be, as Pastor
you
say,
have-
it might be relationships that you have. It might be your reputation or your pride. It's whatever it is that stands between your heart and the freedom to communicate and relate to your creator. That is the thing that you have to sell and give to the poor. So if it's your reputation, demean yourself. Step away from the glory and the honor and the all of the thing and go walk the street and deal with regular people who don't see you as anything very special. Just go and work among the people.
Yeah, because watch I know. When I sit down and I meditate it, I say, all right then, me born and grow and I get up. You understand me? Many times the mama can't find food. Tears are run out her eye, forgive me. She can't find food. Right? And I go up and bought me son, I say, all right then. The day after I find myself with that $5,000 in my hand. Right? And I say, well, $5,000 probably can ping pong for the week, you know, but next week it's done and food done and belly hungry again. So, all right then, I'm about to look something to buy, you know, and sell, you know. I turn my money, I work it. So I still have the $5,000. I still find the food feed, and probably I can go and put a $500 back on the $5,000 every week.
Yeah.
So by the month done, the $5,000 turn $7,000.
Okay.
And a bigger money stand, I still eat food, and I can carry on before the year done, I could have a couple $100,000 too.
Right. So, and that is what
So some people don't want you for sure get to use certain way of living.
No, but
you understand me?
Right.
They might want to shut you up because that Christ is not doing to show people how to live.
Yeah.
And them try to shut them up. That's all the prophets them was doing, showing people how to
How
live.
to live. And that's what we're aiming to do here.
Yeah.
All right, my brother, I have another caller who's been
You
waiting.
cannot free to tell the people them how to live, even if them threaten you.
Okay.
I agree
That's
with
what
you.
Christ means. If we're willing to give up everything to speak the truth. All right.
Yep, and to be generous in sharing your gifts.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hi, good morning, my sister. Good morning, Pastor.
Morning. How you do?
I'm good, man. I'm here, kind of feeling for the nation, you know? Concern for the nation.
Yes.
You know, I was doing some research over the weekend and some of the wars that they have been in Afghanistan and Syria and all in places there. You know that for the year, sometimes they don't kill the amount of people that they kill in Jamaica for the
true.
year. And we're not at war.
And we're not at war, my brother. That is the problem. We're not at war.
Right. So listen, I don't see. I think for we to solve this problem, you know, we have to understand what is causing the problem. And every little, we said this and we said that. I don't think we are doing any research already. Proper research to find out what is the problem. Why is people are being killed in the amount that they be killed in the year. I don't think we are trying to find out. We're not doing enough to find out exactly. Because if you prescribe wrong, if the doctor diagnose wrong, we prescribe wrong medicine, you know.
Correct.
I don't think we are doing that because every time somebody get killed, you say, boy, it's gang related. Or is it? And it's, to me, we are simplifying the thing where we just everything gang. No, why it's confusing to me now. Really, really confusing to me now.
My brother, if you've been, I know you've been keeping kind of like a finger on the pulse, and there are some things that I've noticed myself. One is that the level at which decisions are being made and I would almost say policy, there is a misapplication of policy in the sense that there are many thinkers in the society and they've been writing and speaking, and a lot of persons are being more vocal because as they see how far it's going, they realize that they have to speak up. A lot more people are speaking up. And there's a level at which the truth is known.
Yeah.
And we simply at a higher level where the decisions are being taken, where the resources are being deployed, the truth that is at one level is not reaching the other level.
In my opinion, if we increase the police force by 20,000 more police, we're going to have the same amount of killing in this country.
Okay.
Because we are not diagnosing the problem. We have a social problem. I remember a psychiatrist, I think it's the psychiatrist said, we have how much people mad, how much mental suffering from mental. You see to me, slavery, and we have a thing called gene memory, I don't know.
Yes, we spoke about it here, memetics.
Right, and it's in our DNA. Violence is so much in our DNA because in slavery, when people stood up and saw the cruelty, to me, it is manifesting now in the generation that we have, we need some deep thinkers to think about the problem that we have in this country. We have some serious problem in this country, because Jamaicans, the same Jamaicans right now, where everybody talk about we are loving and nice. The same Jamaicans that we take out, we have one banana and give you half right. It's the same man go on the car and we cut your throat, but not at all,
That's true.
I don't think we are studying the psyche of our people.
Well, this is a discussion that can go on for much longer than we can even give it time this morning. But we have been speaking here about the heart because we know that it is out of the heart of man that these things are coming. And yeah, so we know it's out of the heart. So the teaching and the curbing, and we know it says a lot more social intervention and investment in social structures that is required. You're right, it's not the policing in the rawest sense. You put more policemen on the road. It's not going to change the situation because we always have more people than the police. So it's not going to change the situation. So some of the misfit between policy and solution, we are seeing it because of the overall corruption in some places that should not be corrupt.
Yeah, man. When I think, I notice, we have the class, the separation of the classes in this country is so wide.
Yeah.
That because you're supposed to have in every country that is prosperous. You have a middle class, and you have an upper class, and you have a lower class. Right? Yeah. And we seem to be just having two classes, poor and rich in this country. The middle class in this country, in my opinion, has abandoned their responsibility. And because people don't like to talk about class. Every society has class. Every society has class.
Yes, it's stratified in one way or another.
Right.
We just go past the 8:30 break. Are we okay, engineer? And we have another call. So
I'm going to finish up now. So if we don't get the classes to live together, because if you have one set of people living together, just one, and it's like everybody thinking the same way.
Yeah.
And you want a mixture of people living together so that you can learn from each other.
So unification across class lines is one of the objectives that we have to aim for. All right. Thank you, my brother, for sharing with us. We're about to take the break. Let me just get some instructions from the engineer.
Okay, all right, nice.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Thanks
Keep
for calling.
listening,
Thanks for
please.
calling. Keep listening. Because we know you're listening, you know. Bless you, my brother.
All right. Are we taking the break now or the other caller is on? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good
Now,
morning.
rush me now, can I break soon come anyway?
The break gone already.
No, the engineer is giving us some special privileges.
For me, can't owe me enough money. Anyway,
Just for you.
All right, go ahead.
what I'm calling about, is this thing where them say a man can get charged to rape his wife. What do you think about it, Pastor?
Man can get charged to rape his wife.
His wife.
Because what
Can
is
he rape
rape? Let us be on the same. What is rape?
I guess they say when you force somebody to do something when they're not,
Against
when
your
they
will.
don't want to do it.
Okay. So in that definition, if that's why I said let's define
But
what
I
is.
want to know, do you disagree?
Yes,
Because
I
it's
disagree.
long been
In some
established.
case, in some case.
So it better you tell us why you disagree, because the law has been on pastor's side of the fence for a while. Rape of a wife, why not?
There's a lot of time women have this way that they just say no. Even if you and them have some little disagreement, they say no. And not only that, a woman, I'm not saying woman alone cheat, but men cheat, but I think women cheat more. And can hide it.
That's
A
interesting.
woman
That's
go
like-
out the street and do something and come back and she don't want to deal with it because she know I'm going to find out. So she said, no.
Oh.
But my main point is, what if she say a raper and it goes to court? How they going to prove that a raper?
You're talking about marital rape.
Yeah, but that's a
Yes,
different. But you're raising some different issues, though, from rape, because a false accusation of rape is not rape; it's a false accusation of rape.
Right.
And a plea of rape as an alibi for cheating is not rape; it's still someone lying. I think you have to separate those issues from the individual who was truly saying no, who was truly overpowered by a man, albeit her husband, and who was forced into sexual servitude against her will. You have to separate it from the true case of rape. And if you acknowledge that even though a man is a husband, he can still overpower a woman and have use of her body, if you acknowledge that that is wrong, then we don't have a disagreement. Can you see circumstances where, or you think that by virtue of marrying a woman, you have a permanent yes?
As long as she's not sick.
Mm-hmm.
As long as she's not sick, because at the end of the day, men die first. Men is the one that is going out first. Because we have.
So they need to have all the sex they can get before they die.
Right, and a woman is always there to lie down. She's always there to lie down.
Always there to lie down. Hold on. So
we cannot stand up all the time. There's no way a man gonna stand up all the time, and a woman always can lie down.
We need to use it up while the man is able, and the woman should be generous.
But I take it. Hold on. You asked me. I'm glad you have taken the legal perspective of the rape. What is rape? But in my own consideration, and if you use Ephesians 5 passage, which speaks to the fact that the woman must be submitted to the husband, but the submission of the woman to husband comes because the man loves his wife, that he's willing to even die for his wife. So if you consider yourself a servant to your wife, loving her much, then you want to rape her. Look at it in that context. But
he's saying there's permanent consent unless the woman is sick. That's what he's saying.
No, but I'm saying,
and
but
if
if
there
you
is
love your
consent,
wife,
it's not rape.
No,
so you
but-
have to consider what he's saying in true to what it.
No, I hear what
saying.
he's saying, but I'm
Is there such a thing as permanent consent?
No, because if you love your wife and you're serving your wife, then you have to take into consideration all of what she's saying at that point in time. And if your wife says, "Boy, we're not up to it," and so on, you force her, you're doing it against our will. And if you love somebody in that
Don't
passage,
repeat it, Pastor. It's break time.
Yeah.
Anything else on the point, my brother?
Yes, I'm talking about Barbados and their breakaway from the Queen.
You're celebrating it?
Or what?
why we don't? We have to look at the share statistics. So we have to look at it and then comment on
Well,
it.
it was better than ours for many years, and then it got in a similar condition, but they always have stronger prospects for growth than we do because
Yes,
they don't
ma'am.
have the level of corruption and misbehavior that we have. Can you wait with us, or I know we test your patience at the start, but the engineer is starting to look fierce. We're gone past the break time, and he has
Tell
things
you
to
what,
do.
I'll
Yes.
wait because
All right,
I
please
want
do.
to say more about
No
this
worries.
Barbados
No
thing.
worries. Please do. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Fast FM. Keep listening.
Close a long day on a Tuesday afternoon with a great company. While you're heading home, stuck in traffic, or on your way to work. Yes, when life throws you Tuesday, turn up and let it be a Tuesday. And choose On the Air with Tashika Lu, your one-stop, entertaining, inspiring late afternoon show with friendly conversations, song requests, positive affirmation, learn something to improve your health, and submission box when you, my listeners, share your relationship problems.
Hold on. What you just said? You're engaged this man for 5 years and I know him can't marry you? Is that prank? No, I do it.
Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is heard everywhere.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Go ahead with the Queen.
Barbados now. What I'm saying, I believe we should break away from the Queen long ago, or the King, whatever. But
The monarchy.
I don't think we can do it in a crisis like we have right now.
But that would only be if we are getting some benefit that we would lose if we do it in a crisis.
getting any
What
benefit.
benefit do you think we would lose if we do it in a crisis?
I'm not talking about benefit. You see, these people that we're breaking away from, they're very spiteful. You see what they do to Haiti?
These people disavowed us from 1962 and we've been clinging to their skirts.
We're not on their budget.
These people cut us loose. And what they're doing with the Privy Council now, it is really not the justice we want for our people.
We should have our own court long ago, but you know, it was this government that object to it. Which
the Caribbean Court of Justice?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, he says it's the JLP. You mean the JLP-led government that has objected?
Yes, they oppose it, and they still do. But what I'm saying, these people, like white people, they're very spiteful. And they can block help that is supposed to be cut. None of them want to give up, any land that they have.
But isn't that a noble sacrifice?
Yeah, but
Wouldn't you give up the help if I don't want your help if you're only giving it to me so long as I remain under your foot?
Yeah, but looking
So
at
to
these
speak,
people
because
control the world and the wealth, you know. England is one of the richest countries in the world, you know. Not United States.
So do you think we
and
will,
China.
So, but where do we need to be in your mind for us to step away from the monarchy? Because we will never be as rich as them then, if that is a part of your contemplation.
We should have stepped away from about 65, 66.
So yeah, but where? You said we don't do it now while we're in a crisis. And it seems
Right,
that
like,
there's always
like
one
when the
crisis
crisis,
or
maybe
another.
next year, the next 2 years, we start
Oh,
to
you
hear
mean
and then we
pandemic
break away.
crisis? You mean pandemic crisis?
Right.
Okay.
You don't want to do it in a pandemic crisis. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. All right, my brother. Thank you so much.
No, I have one more point.
Oh, go ahead then.
Sport. I always talk about sport.
Yes.
West Indies will never dominate cricket again like they used to.
Why?
Because why we used to dominate, it was a hate, it was a revenge. We want to kill the white man for what
we
they
don't.
were doing to us.
Okay, and we're not feeling that rage again.
No, we're not feeling that. Remember, Holding was one of the fastest man back then, and now he's speaking out.
That's an interesting point.
About the racism that used to get to him. They wanted to break those guys' heads and win.
And so he took it
they don't have that thing now.
giving us
That,
excellent
it's
cricket.
Yeah.
So that rage needs to be replaced by something equally motivating so we can get the best out of our sportsmen.
Right. We need to have that rage, and they don't have it. It's not there anymore.
All right, sir. I thank you for that. Next caller. Yes. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. All things good, my brother. How are you?
President, and I give thanks for it now.
You been listening?
Yes, dear.
What you sharing with us now?
Oh, one from this morning. The cesspool.
Cesspool comment.
I mean, I tell her, I say,
yeah, Reverend, just make the thing that I call it to do. Yeah, Reverend?
Which is what?
Yeah, they said a cesspool, something them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I was to clarify, and if you continue to listen, now I got a better understanding of what you were saying. But you're saying something is a cesspool without clarification. Because we have to remember when we're speaking, we're speaking in a way that everybody understand what you are saying. Yeah, but go ahead.
We know history, Reverend. You know? We know history. Yes, so we know it's a cesspool thing. You know, it's one of the key finance organizations in the world, are the Crown.
Well, some say the Catholic Church, but
the Crown,
not far apart.
Yeah, the Crown are one of the most key finance organizations in the world. Then key for the whole African Empress.
Yep.
It's not only them. You mean all European countries? They cut up Africa.
Monarchies.
The monarchies,
because
not the crown.
Monarchies. Anyway, I know I understand what he's saying because they've come from different countries, all with the same plan. In fact, one of our listeners just. Yeah, and there was nothing that they wouldn't take as long as it could move. They take soil, they take people, they take minerals from in the earth. I mean, they take your identity, they take your culture. Nothing was sacred.
There's nothing. So you say all who want to move from the queen? Eh?
Yeah.
Because they want people. So you know want to move forward around the queen. You like the queen and you love the queen, something there. I pay different things the queen have, you know.
One of our listeners online said that is a dependency. Somebody here has just said there's a dependency syndrome because sometimes it is just that fear to be on your own that keeps you clinging to something that don't mean you well, but somehow you take some sense of security from it. Does that make sense to you?
No, we need.
So we can actually do something.
And we can self, PNP and GLP.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
We're breaking that yoke, my brother. We're breaking it. We're breaking it.
Yeah. So
take a little hope from that.
That we're moving. We're moving.
Empress.
Yes, my brother.
I want to look at the card. I have to buy one more Empress. Yeah?
Yes, my brother. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. Good morning. Welcome to the morning.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. Todo buen.
Good,
All
good.
good, eh?
Yeah, man. Well listen.
Okay.
Like
Bueno,
you have
bueno.
Cuba in your
Anyway,
mind.
¿Cómo estás, Elsinore?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú?
I don't know, but I carry too far enough.
Bien. Good. Yes.
Okay. All right. The caller before this caller,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes when I say explain to the caller, then you know, there's nothing the king or nothing left in a Jamaica where the queen wants right now.
Not that thing.
So I don't know what I'm saying. The queen.
He was thinking that some retaliation, backlash might reach us.
No
because
backlash.
I
right?
don't
The
think
queen
any,
will-
but that's,
all right.
you know.
What China are doing at Jamaica, you know, with the Queen and US government should have do from a long time if them love Jamaica or them love the Caribbean. You understand? So the Belt and Road or the Belt and Road plan with China have, where Jamaica involved in, right? All them things there, the Queen and USA should have do. So the Queen, them no mean Jamaica, them no good for a long time. So them don't know Jamaica for a long time.
But let me ask you a question though. You say somebody put in the chat that all monarchies behave alike, whether they are from the east or the west. Because let us not be under any illusion that the Chinese are doing it simply because they love us, you know. Because I keep saying to people, the way that the Chinese mindset is, they think in terms of dynasty. So they think of, we do something now, but we are thinking like 200-300 years down the line. And whatever has happened to them, let me just make the point, they say it's only a blip in terms of being expansionist and controlling the world.
So China is about 10,000 miles away, you know. Let me tell you something, Pastor. China has done some business to make money. You understand? China overpopulated, so China has spread its family wings. That means you send back your money to China. China already know say them can own nowhere in the Caribbean.
Really?
With the United States. Listen what I say, man. The United States is a superpower, you know. All right, for instance, look on China border. The United States surrounded China border, you know.
And have for a long time.
The United States now stay America and fight a war. The United States surround China border already. You understand? So what China agree now is just some business where them in people go around and make money.
And I would
say right now,
I would say to
China
you,
build up Jamaica. Listen, hold on, listen me. If China build up Jamaica right now, and we, the 95% of black people, means that we are run out China, the China them out here. Nothing can stop. That's what we do already, you know.
Oh yeah, okay.
You understand? So no make them fool about China and rare.
No, it's not a rare. You're talking.
No, but there are two different philosophies at work for different objectives.
Right.
And for us, it is which purpose is better in alignment with what we're seeking to do. The Belt and Road initiative is to create a pipeline for the movement of goods and services and capital as well. In it, some people will prosper because their infrastructure will get built as a part of this initiative. But it's a global initiative. It is not localized to creating small centers of power in the political sense.
Just I'm telling you, it's business China.
It's business oriented for us, but at the same time, the more sympathetic we are with their philosophy, and the more grateful we are then to who brings us a blessing, it can change the politics because you're called upon to vote on issues and to take positions on the world stage.
Right.
And it's a question of whether you're aligned
because
to the east or the west.
hold on a second. China has the same thing of becoming a world power like United.
They're already there.
A world
It's a
power
question of
in terms of
recognition.
controlling it. Because look at what they have done in the United States. You know, say China won US. Most people don't know that, you know. All right.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you, it's business China use and I do what I do. But hear me now.
Go ahead, make
All
your
right.
point.
So
Make your-
I don't want you to
All
get
right.
caught up in the politics too deep because you
All
have
right.
another
It's
call.
true we have a political problem.
Yes.
And that's what the problem would come in. Like, if we, like, we rent the airport now, I make Mexico run the airport. And some other people run the airport. So China build a airport, or China get in our business so much, and we know go make some wrong move. And so China get piece of your team, you know, through business, you know.
So we have to remain vigilant and understand that you can, what they said, spit out the bones and take the meat. We have to be on guard so that we are getting the best from these arrangements that we enter into with any foreign power, so that our local
not making
interests
no good
are
arrangement
protected.
because through our government, them always licky.
Right, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
So and so the point is, let us not be under any illusion. Because we have another caller.
Yeah, like how you phrase
Yeah,
that.
let us not be under any illusion. We, whichever persons we're in business with, will make sure that we get the best out of it for our people.
Right.
Because both of them have been expansionists, and I'd recommend to you, Paul, read a little bit of Chinese history in terms of how they're dealt with their neighbors. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. That's important, because history is a very important instructor how people deal with you. So we have another caller. We thank you. Yeah, man.
Let me not finish it.
Yes.
Jamaica. The problem with Jamaica with crime and everything, what the first leader will call you.
Yes.
Jamaica have a political problem. It starts from the top.
The leadership.
Anyone want to start set example from the top. Just like how you hear them people after they now resign. With the money we miss up again, some different money. It starts from the top. People are watch the leader. The leader is thinking.
Yeah,
you understand?
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said, if we can't get it right in Parliament, we have a problem, and we've got to make
Jamaica
sure
leader
that
them
we get
tainted, man.
it
The whole of them
right.
tainted, man. From top to bottom. That's
All
a
right.
Jamaica problem.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm okay, man.
Yeah. What you have to say about what's happening in the world and the economy?
Well, what I wanted to see about was last week, the DLP conference. Let's say Mr. Montague saying that he was happy that I think it was the cap board was moved from under his portfolio and diverted to the Ministry of Finance. So I'm going to escape some blame.
Well, it's following him.
And not leave him,
Not leaving him at all. It even
And
gone down
also,
to... Yeah.
the high point at the conference was really Mr. Golding. I think he was the main speaker.
Bruce Golding.
Yeah, man, because he made a relevant point.
Yes.
And spoke to even the corruption. Probably never come out so widely and say it, but he spoke to it. And spoke to Andrew about it. I realized that much person never slapped him.
No. The great chair was for the illegal possession of firearm death penalty.
Yeah, and also I saw Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan made some comments as it relates to job numbers. He said that they are giving hope to the people, but the job numbers that he was comparing was 2013 compared to I think either 2020 or 2021, because after that point in time, the BPO sector came in, and there was a great boom in the job market.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Shaw said that when the TNP was coming with that, it was a job scam, because he could not believe the numbers. And that he Peter Phillips could not believe the numbers himself, because he also reduced the numbers when he was making his presentation. So I do not understand his mathematics. And again, that's just a way to try to fool the people.
But listen to it, my brother. You see, and that is why when you hear people making citing statistics, you must use what they're using as their reference point. Because when the government says to you that there's been 12 or 13% growth in the economy, against what?
In the first quarter of 2021.
Yeah, against
and
what?
It is not a growth, it's just a rebound.
It's a
a readjustment.
So, and that is why we have to continue to educate our people. So
Because I don't think we have reached post COVID numbers as yet. So we are not really seeing any growth per se. We're just rebounding.
Yeah. And the boast
again,
about the
somebody said, man,
government being flush with.
because even though we're paying like about 3 times the amount to the persons that we owe, our international lenders and so forth.
Right,
And I'm
because
saying,
the
why do we
dollar is
have to do that?
devaluing. Because the dollar is devaluing. The dollar has moved. Like in 1 week, the dollar moved down by $2, and people don't even notice. But when you see it, and you talk about inflation and what is happening, all of us as Jamaicans see it. You go to the supermarket, I go to the supermarket, and I was commenting to my wife, because I'm the person who does that in our home, and I said, baby, up to a month ago, this is what I was paying, and this is where it gone to. And I cannot imagine for other fixed income people, what is happening? The man who's at minimum wage, how them coping and striving in what is happening?
Because over the weekend I was at the parts store and I heard a price about 2 weeks ago, and I came out the price had increased.
It is the same everywhere. And the soil not producing more. We're not increasing productivity at a rate that makes the adjustment likely in any time coming soon. So,
and also somebody sent me some articles about some news scandals. And my response was, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. What's okay?
Well,
I don't know.
we have work to do. Do. Let's just put all hands on deck and attack it. All right, my brother. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have another call to take. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, George, may I big you up over the weekend,
Me vex.
You can't vex with me, George. You can't. Friend can do them thing and vex up, but friend a friend.
I say I go, man, for real, man.
Friend a friend. Friend a
Can't
friend.
talk and course, but tomorrow friend
We
came
are
with.
friend. Yeah, man. So what's
Forget
going on?
about the past and deal with the present.
And that's what you're trying to do, George.
Yeah, man. When you big me up,
Yeah,
I'm never here.
No, not on the radio, Somebody may I talk to and I big up my friend George. So if you see some people I check, no, man.
It's still not true.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know because when we are
If
here,
Pastor says it, I take it to be absolutely
I
true.
talk to different
So
people
when you
about
see the
George.
uptick in business, just know.
Okay. Thank you very much. They go up and live at the big breakfast and big place. Me know up there now.
Yeah, you need to come.
In a air condition. They don't invite me and make me get breakfast. Me come from 5 o'clock, come sit down there and wait for me.
No, it's outdoors,
Come
so
on,
don't expect
breakfast,
any
so.
air condition. But come by one Thursday morning, man. Open the shop late.
Yeah, man. What a way China won. The Virgin sent one article there, them take away the Uganda airport. Because most of 209 billion or something like that. Then them pay build the airport, I expand everything, and then it's time pass, and then can't pay enough take away the airport.
Repossess.
So they know own and operated. That's what I'm saying to people.
Yeah, I want to know now. Like what them say them control now. They are fully in control of the government still have apartheid. I want to get that.
But I don't know enough.
I don't
We
know
don't
the
know what the
details of
agreements of it were, but it is something that is happening all over Kenya because people don't read. That is why I was saying to Raspal, let me be under no illusion.
Business transactions have consequences.
Yeah. And so-
Repossession is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
or receivership.
2 weeks ago, I was coming from Port and I drive through St. Thomas for a long time I drive today. And I see them a dig down one road, I build one road, but say after them don't build that, the government don't pay them.
Aye. You're talking about the north
Yes.
south highway, which comes from St. Thomas round to the airport. Yeah.
Big massive work I go on so. Remind me
George.
when them did a build the pyramid.
George, the engineer is
I want-
asking if you can
Hold on,
take a
George.
break.
We're going to take a break.
If
We're
we
going to
can
take a break
the
and come back
and
quickly.
Come back to you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Easy! Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah! And I know they will try to tie me up. And I know they will try to mix me up. So them evil, so them lie, so them corrupt. Scheming and them planning, but we not give up. Jehovah and they one way ya cut me up. In on the Father we put
Watch this. The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Fast FM. Keep listening.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and his righteousness. Friends in Radio Land, holy greetings to you all. This is your radio pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Jones, inviting you to join me every Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in a dying world. It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Best.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. We have two callers on hold
So,
now. George, you're first.
Run your
Yes.
point, George. Go ahead.
Listen up now.
Mm-hmm.
No, they house them up a roof and the National Housing Trust.
Sold out, says the Prime
37
Minister.
million.
Yes, and he says all been sold out with phase 2 being under consideration.
Yes, we hear that. I'm someone to that talk. And them say, yes, you can say you're not qualified with that. Them say, listen me. Your family them have a spot down at Glen. You try to go build one nice stone here. You see? Yeah, what you allow?
Get the NHT money and go build it.
That's a country uptown thing that you know no tree, you know no backyard. You not want to place a country there. You don't go and just to build up somewhere nice because by the time you don't work, you have your local pension, you can have your local land down there, and you can raise the goat, your local vegetable, and not try to find back on a place a country.
What's your feeling about it, George?
Look on the local house down there. Because I know, look on the house just out there.
Okay, all right.
Just look at them because you're not going to get to touch that no time at all.
All right, my brother. I hear you.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So everything good though?
All good. All good.
Yeah, which idea this idea would we at that time? Some of that tell me, most of that tell me.
How much
They
work?
talk with it. For the advertisement.
What?
You mean to buy slots in terms of your thing? That's what you mean?
Yeah. They might say somebody deal with that.
Okay,
All
we
right,
call you off.
Yeah, stay on the line and speak to Andre, or the producer is in the house, and he can give you some information so we can take this call. George wants to advertise with us.
Go ahead.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yes, my lady. I just want to can you explain what is your definition of integrity?
Of integrity?
You go ahead. My simple definition of it, what you say that you're going to do is what you end up doing. So your words are the same thing with your the speech with the action. But somebody say, if a man tell him I got thief and him thief, then it's still integrity because he's been show integrity as a thief.
So it is where both your public and your private self are merged, one and the same. And
Well, my definition is doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
That's true.
yes, so that's your private self and your public self.
Yeah. No, I listen. A lot of people talk about the what the leaders are doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we expect our leaders to perform and to operate in a certain way. But what in terms of integrity? Are we a set of people that are in any form of integrity that if the policeman is not there, is not behind our back,
We don't do the right thing. We are always talking about that here in one way or another, as I think you know. And this idea, who we are, is an important part of the discussions we have, because we are seeing of the leaders the princes of this nation, we are seeing exactly who they are. It's not really an issue of integrity because they're doing what they say they will do. When they speak, we hear it. The only
But they are hosting because a lot of us, if we get at this position, we're going to do the same thing.
we behave in the same way. And that's why we here talk so much about changing the heart. So much about it.
So our country is in a problem, and everybody just looking why this leader. It's we produce the leaders. And if we have a type of system, a type of mindset as we have in this country, we can't want to produce good leaders, and we have a very flawed and corrupt society, you know.
Okay.
We have to look into this society. Every man have to looking at the mirror. You know? Nobody not looking at the mirror and making and look back on themselves. You know. Everybody has about the leaders and the leaders. And we produce the leaders. You know. We had a country where we were a different set of people. You think the leaders could operate like what they have?
No, sir. Me agree with you.
And if we truly found them so repugnant, they would not remain. We would hold them accountable, and that's why we're on this path.
I can bet you know, any one of the politicians there, you see, going that in politics now. And if you see them come out and you see them walk on the street and like them walk, you know, people, man, I idiot, man, I politics, and look at them walk. No, should I drive big car, should I do? We have a psyche in this country. I don't know we're going to get to change it, you know. It has to change for us to get a better country, you know. With the crime, the violence, and the corruption and everything. Every time we talk about Jamaica, we are a set of corrupted people.
Okay.
It's very few of us is not corrupt in this country. Very few.
My brother, we need to increase the numbers.
Yeah, we have to find a way to increase the numbers.
Yeah.
All right, my brother. Thank you for calling us back.
I'll stop blaming we our leaders are corrupt. What about us? Are we producing leaders them?
Right, and we're not. And as you say, we're not looking in the mirror. We are the man in the mirror. Yes, we are the man in the mirror. If we look at ourselves, we say all of what we see happening is a reflection of who we are. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, because all right, if we can look a leader. That's the only thing the man can come and tell us about. He can walk around with that shoes. And a Clark shoes. And we vote him on that basis. And there's nothing that this man put forward and tell you that he's going to make the country better. And we're not deep thinkers. We're not deep thinkers in this country. Yeah. And the people who are deep thinkers, what they do is manipulate the rest of society to their advantage.
True.
Well, we're changing those dynamics, and I thank you for participating in it.
I would like to call us to think some little trivial thing and start to think deep and start to blame leaders and blame this and
take responsibility is what you're saying.
Right, and take and stress responsibility that our leaders, anybody we elect to put up there, we must have a certain expectation and have them performing in a certain way.
And hold them accountable.
And hold them accountable.
All right, sir. We're taking our leave now because another caller is holding us accountable. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Garza.
Good morning.
Look, the leadership. What do you think we produce Michael Manley?
Oh boy, you want to take responsibility for Michael Manley?
Produce Lee Kuan Yew.
Yes.
Everybody's not the same, man. I'm going to say leadership come from leadership don't come from Parliament is a leader and a leader. And a vision.
But Michael Manley
the same way in Jamaica.
I don't think he was saying that, and I don't think he meant it in the most literal sense, because Michael Manley, though born of Jamaican, what are you thinking? Tell me what you're thinking, because I know you're not taking him literally in every respect. Yes.
Singapore.
Yes.
Singapore produced Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew don't know him plan and know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Educate.
But do you think that last caller was absolving the leaders? Or he was speaking more for personal responsibility?
We don't blame leader. We have to blame leader. If we get a work to do and you not do it good, we have to blame you.
Yeah, but okay. Were you supervising the work? Could you have caught it earlier? Do you take any responsibility for choosing a bad workman? I think those are the questions that he's inviting.
But me no want a man involve me with corruption if the next man corrupt.
Are you corrupt in your dealings with people?
No.
And you because some of the times, I relate an issue to that happened in terms of the whole thing of corruption. Let me just say, listen to me quickly, my brother. And we have another call. So the point he is making, and I don't think we must miss that, is, and I think Minute also said, our leaders reflect us. Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, we know we have a system.
Okay.
That
hold on.
The system that we have can bring a leader to corrupt because man can use the lawyer, look on the law, and
find loophole.
Loophole and everything there. And do him a do. So we need to change the system. That's why I'm telling you, we have a political problem.
Yeah, but even beyond the political problem, there's a problem that we're having in terms of the mindset of our people, which is even deeper than the political problem. And that is what we are putting on the table. We have to change the mindset of our people, because you say we have a political system problem. Look at it. Every time election come around.
What you guys are talking about, none of them are mutually exclusive.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't think there's any denial.
The Prime Minister have man.
How much power?
We understand all of that, We understand all of that,
So that's why we tell you, say we have a system where we need to correct the system. We mean the Constitution. You man talk about reform or rewrite. We need the Constitution to rewrite. But we can set laws. That's when people now work like how them to work. We dismiss them.
So you know that in the body of Jamaicans out there looking at the issue, some of them are looking keenly at leadership, and we must, and others are looking keenly at responsibility at the personal level, and that requires the same level of focus. So I think it's two priorities that other parts, different parts of the country might be working on, because it is all hands on deck. And
It's just like how you have your church and you set certain laws in your church. We have to go out. I saw it go the country, A country, we are the shareholder.
We're not in disagreement, my brother.
We're not in
disagreement. Yeah, and I don't think the caller before that was saying otherwise, but he's making.
Yeah, but we don't like a man that say we produce lead and produce God.
No, we.
But we, they don't come from people.
Is we when it good and is we when it bad.
Yeah.
Them come from we, but a leader is a leader.
All right, we're in agreement to that.
Leaders,
everything rises and falls.
That's problem, man. Yeah. Man, I'm tainted, man. We need to reform this thing, man, and get Jamaica together, man. Jamaica can become good.
We're not in disagreement, my brother. We are not in disagreement. Thanks for calling back. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, people.
Good morning.
Rachel, how are you?
I'm fine. I have 3 points, but I just would like for Jamaicans worldwide to listen carefully. Everybody's got their point, and sometimes things are so detrimental and people don't take notice of it. So I'd like to bring a few things to the forefront this morning. This morning I heard Elaine talking about the security of, and the goodness, how it would be for JPS and DG7 line to work together. Would you all believe that when I just came 2011, every time the electricity would go out, it ruined your computer. You call up and you speak to them, and then they're telling you that people stealing this and stealing that. And I brought that to them. I even went on Facebook. I went on the Prime Minister's page on Facebook, right? And I said, this is what I think would solve the issue. Each of them worked together and put up a camera on they don't have to tell people where it is to catch the thieves and to make things better so they can give people better service. And I thought, you talk, and they've done nothing until today. the other thing is,
So you don't think such a partnership is likely?
I don't know. Something is going on that they're just not doing it. Whether somebody is benefiting from what so they can put up the bills or whatever, something is just not right. I tell you, I've done that again and again, even on the phone. I call the company, I send them email, I send requests on FB, and it's nothing was done until today, right? Now, a lot of us are grieving about the past and what our ancestors have went through, but we must be careful about evoking these spirits, right? Because some people might think I'm talking foolishness, but I'm telling you, I'm sorry for my ancestors, but still, we don't know what they used to do. Who has got a venging mind, a venging spirit, whatever. People, I heard a guy this morning talking about something to do with slavery, and it's as if it's furlong through the behavior of some of our people.
Epigenetics.
Yes, right? We go around evoking spirits and evoking all these people that supposed to have been our ancestors and what. And I'm not saying we shouldn't feel sorry for some of them, but did we live with them? Did we live their life? Did we know how they used to do things? So
we open the doors to things that we can't control.
Very much so. And that's been something that came in my spirit for so long. And I don't think people realize how deep this is.
It's one of the reasons too why, speaking to Pastor, I said some of these old laws that we still have on the books, just cut ties with it. Just don't amend it. Don't keep anything of it. Just cut ties with it and begin to build from a fresh place that you can relate to. All right. What's your other point, Rachel?
Number two.
The other point is this pandemic has caused a lot of people worldwide to think about what we can do to make things better. Now I hear Mr. Bartley or whatever his name is with the tourist. You know who he is.
Edmund Bartley, Minister of Tourism.
He's talking about bringing in people to see our herbs and to learn the benefits. Do you know what that's leading to?
No, tell us.
Now we have the herbs to cure and heal ourselves. They've gone right down to the herbs now. So you can just imagine what's going to be happening, like what happened to the marijuana.
Okay.
Well, that our Minister of Tourism is one of the persons in leadership who thinks that everything about us is for sale or for viewing or for the entertainment of others. It is, I would say that there's a self-esteem and a lack of clear identity, self-image, something going on there that is not healthy, either for the man or for the country. But you know what? He can say these things. It is Jamaicans who going to open the door and make it possible.
But that's why I'm calling.
We have to be more aware of these things.
Just this week they're coming in. And if they hadn't started already, maybe it's just making it official. But I'm praying and I'm asking Jamaicans worldwide, protect that our herbs stay to maintain our children and our children's children, how long ever the Creator has to give us to live.
Well,
other people should
Rachel, I'm getting the sign to move to the next call.
Third point.
Well, you get my gist.
I get your gist. That was the third point.
Right.
All right. Thank you, my dear. Thanks for calling. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning.
The person who
Sri Lanka.
in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was checking to see if it has actually happened in Uganda. The last report I saw said it hadn't happened yet. Did it happen this morning on the weekend? Did we miss that? But the reality of it is that when you borrow money and it is put into real estate and things that people can seize, they will seize it. And you need to know what to do. Cuba famously nationalized some properties and they're still paying the price for it, but I applaud them for having done so. Jamaica need to know what it's going to do when certain assets are seized. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning to you, Sister Minute. Good morning to you, Pastor.
Good morning, brother.
Blessed love,
It's so ironic that when we forget about truth, it just died like that. Long ago in a land called Jamaica, there was a man who come with a basket, and the basket was full of items, and the items, I wonder if you would.
Was this a basket in Parliament?
Yeah, that time, in that time.
Okay.
I wonder if you would come to the Parliament with that basket now, with all those items. Because it was a hard time.
Well, he should not be permitted to forget. I think history has a clear record of what was in the basket. So we could conduct it for. Why don't you put together the basket and call me back?
You mean I'm calling about Sister Minette?
Yeah,
man,
put
do it.
together the same
If you
basket
remember
and
the
let's
basket, you'll find
talk
it and
about
check what it says.
let's talk about the cost of that basket today.
Hold on. Well, I would do that because I would have to go in the supermarket and the wholesale and find all the items.
And just get the price, yes.
And itemize them.
Absolutely.
That's what we need.
Come back to, and it would mean nothing because, let me tell you something.
No, it might mean nothing to him, but I guarantee you there's somebody listening to whom it would mean something.
Yeah,
we have to go on with we have to look for the one, Leave the 99 safe ones and always seek that one whose mind and heart can be changed.
I agree. But you see, why I bring it up, it's just how easy they forget. Easy they forget about this basket that was bring to the Jamaican people at that time, coming back to this time.
Yes.
And I wonder if that basket, if you could use 5,000 to buy that basket, now is about 15,000. Listen what I said to you. 15,000 with debt deposit. Each man, I wanted to understand this now. Each man in Jamaica, own 997,000 in debt burden, And I know never can come work it out because it's a mathematician. Each man, even the baby not born yet.
Yeah, that's
money that we own
per capita.
And let me tell you something. I like say the word sorry. Sorry. I not really use sorry, but I'm sorry for Jamaica.
Well, if your heart is moved with compassion for Jamaica, then your hands and your feet will follow with something. Make that basket real for me. I'm just curious to hear what it would cost. Yes.
This is what I said to you. Face reality, Why that man don't come back with the same basket? No, in this time. It's just that just one question I ask, That time you came with the basket. Why you don't come back with the basket? No, this is reality. I said to him, my people.
Do you have the expectation that will happen, my brother? Or should someone else do it?
But if you're a person of integrity, we're talking about integrity.
Do you think he's a person of integrity?
If I think?
Yes. Has he demonstrated?
Remember in the days of Michael Manley, he did a lot of wrongs, and he come back and rewrite and say, I have done wrong, and I am going to change it. And then start correctly wrong them.
Yeah. Well, what you're highlighting is the necessity for us as we are making decisions to look at what a man is doing, take him at his word when him demonstrate his low character, and make the changes that are necessary.
Another point before I go.
Yes.
Mr. Morris, no, come on. Mr. Morris make a big difference in the house.
Yep.
A big difference.
He has.
Yeah. His contribution is untalkable. And you just pass him by.
Just pass him by like that.
Both sides me attacking now. Both sides.
Yeah.
Oh, there, well, you see me condemn the two sides. Because,
both sides.
Yeah.
You don't say, hold on. You see, when it suits you, you can do what you want to do. But when it not suits you, you just throw it aside.
That is not democracy. And that is not humanity. And that is not caring about the disabled as we say we do. And that all of that is being done on our behalf, in our name. So yes, the wake-up call is appropriate.
Wake up, people. Me are begging you for wake up and stop sleep now, man.
But let me ask you, would you do that for me? Would you pull the basket and just tell me what it costs?
I'm not gonna.
You're not committing to that one.
Well, Sister Minute, you ask me a question and I'm gonna tell you.
Yes.
I have a lot to do. I'm not gonna tell you. So prone to that. Yes, I'm gonna do it today.
Yes.
But I'm gonna try to remember all the things them in the basket. and put it together. And I said, if you don't hear me today or tomorrow, I'm putting it together because I want the nation to know.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm at the tax office this morning.
Yes, you reach early, man.
Paying
It's not
property
early.
tax,
It's 9:28.
statutory deduction.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage everybody who listening to this show, find a way to pay some taxes. Because when the other crops come, the only way you can put pressure on government and demand action from government is when you're paying taxes in the system and you can show your tax papers.
Okay.
So you'll be entitled to get the benefits.
Okay.
Because what they're talking in the cabinet over the weekend, they said that too many Jamaicans not playing by the rules. You follow? And they put in pressure on the security minister to do better. Some people say I'm tired. Some people say I'm run out of ideas. But listen this, Pastor. When the Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil, was it joke that the author was making?
No, it wasn't joke. Because it went to the heart of the matter.
Thank you, sir. And Miss Minette.
Yes, sir.
Lawyers. You think lawyers in Jamaica underpaid or they overpaid?
You private or public lawyers, because you have two.
Private lawyers.
I don't think they're underpaid. They are able to claim or earn whatever it is they desire. Lawyers in the public sector may be underpaid because they move within the realms of the salary scales that the government impose.
Miss Minette, in your humble opinion,
yes,
what do you think is a livable monthly salary in Jamaica?
In my humble opinion, livable monthly salary. I think it
as a woman.
Oh well, there's no All right. I think the average person to get by comfortably need to be earning in excess of 150,000 a month.
I agree with you, but you know the per capita income of Jamaica is 56,000 and falling.
I know. So like 30% of what would be reasonable.
Well, listen to this now, Pastor. Mathematics is the biggest problem in the world today, especially a branch of mathematics known as algebra.
True.
I heard you say something earlier, Pastor. I'm never put like a grave upon what you say.
Never, can you wait for a break for us? We have like a time.
Yes.
I know you're at the tax office, so you have time.
Yes.
Give us 2 minutes, please.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Fast FM. Keep listening.
Check out the Better Vibes right here on Java Jamming on Best 100 every Monday from 7 to 10 p.m. We have got music for your mind, body, and soul, entertainment, information on Java Jamming from 7 to 10 p.m. every Monday on Best 100, the Better Vibes.
This is Madam Michelle, and I want to take time out to big up all our artists link up, kings and queens. Artists link up, one link.
When I'm in town, I tune into Best 100 FM.
ALU with Madame Michelle every Monday at 6 p.m. Listen to some of the best music. This program is sponsored by Gel Music Records, Kalanji Music, and Bad Bull Productions. Madame Michelle was born playing music on Best FM 100.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. We still have a call on 9. Go ahead, my brother.
Yes, Pastor. You said that you went to the supermarket and you saw the devaluation in there with the dollar.
Yeah.
Price is high.
Yeah, man.
Well, Pastor, let me tell you. Money is just a little piece of dirty paper. They can't devalue money. What they are doing is devaluing human being, the Jamaican working class.
True.
They are transferring the wealth from us to them. And they do it mathematically through algebra and inflation. Pastor, the finance minister last year stand up in the parliament and he said that no new taxes would come and he get woody for applause for that, right?
Yes,
and they won the election.
Right.
At that time, a bread was selling for $390 and they were collecting 15% GCT and $390. Today, a bread is selling for $430 and the same 15% and $430. Give you a bigger tax than 15% and $390. Why the finance minister don't adjust his GCT to match the price so that the Jamaican people can benefit from the inflation, don't eat away your money? Why? Why you think something, Pastor?
Because at what they're doing, because what you're really saying, because prices have gone up, the intake in terms of general consumption tax has gone up significantly. And so if that is going up, remember they said they are flush with money. But if you are flush with money and you have the people's interest at heart, there are other things that you do in order to ease the pain on the people that you are supposed to be serving and leading.
And I hear one of your callers tell you that they're paying the creditors 3 times what they're owing. That's what they're doing. They're taking away poor people money and giving it to rich people in order for them to prepare adequately for the digital revolution, sir.
Okay.
And they're doing it rapidly all over the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it will fail. I can pronounce on that now, never. Yes.
You know, it's only 13% of Jamaican adults married.
You said it last time, and I never checked it.
Check statistics website. And listen to this, Miss Minute. When our next year comes, and the needs hit the ground, and the cash flow crisis starts, you know, see a lot of divorce and separation going on in Jamaica.
Well, I meant to ask you what do you interpret? What does that statistic say about us? The fact that such a high percentage of Jamaicans who are producing children and living in family situation that they're not formally married.
It tells me that the level of loyalty, commitment, trust, unconditional love is not on the ground. And it's leading to social degradation.
All right, I see what you mean.
And that can't fight war, you know. That will only lead to more suffering.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I don't agree with it wholesale, but I do see what you mean. Yes.
9 out of every 10 Jamaicans adults over the age of 60 don't have a livable pension.
Yeah.
What does that say to you?
That we don't like our old people because we leave them to suffer.
Hallelujah! Pastor!
We leave them to suffer.
We agree with you.
Shake this minute answer me, please.
All right, Neville. I know you have plenty time at the tax office, but I have another caller. If you get a lull in it, call us back.
Hey, you know, so the tax office empty though.
Oh, well.
Government.
Well, I guess that's why you're appealing to people to pay some taxes. Neville still on the line? I'm not hearing him. Oh, all right. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Blessed love,
Blessed love, my brother.
Africa love, you know. No, feel bunga person and yield to the callers, you know. No, tell me something now. All what is going on here where Bongo never just said a while ago. Is these things legal by law?
Okay, well, one of the things he pointed to was the taxation policy. And one of the things that society has never been able to do, and it is a part of the legal, it is lawful that we are not able to restrain the government from raising tax to run the country's affairs. The way we restrain a government that is tax happy or trigger happy is by voting them out when the time comes and having people in their place who will change the policies to be more in accordance with what people want. So when a government that is in control, usually you can't restrain them from passing taxes, but they do so at the risk of losing their position. So that part of it, for example, not changing consumption tax when in terms of volume of money on a higher price, the government itself profits from inflation is the point he was making. And they profit in different ways. They get more tax dollars, but then inflation is also eating away from the value of how you spend that money. So to me, in inflation, nobody's a winner. Similarly, he says, and he's right about that, when you end up, a devalued dollar means higher cash disbursement to your creditors who are taking now more of your local currency to pay the same debt.
That's what.
But because it's a devalued dollar, in terms of the value that it can achieve, it's all the same in many ways. But it does mean that the poor who are struggling to buy food and to pay basic living expenses are constantly being worse off. I don't share Neville's extreme alarm at some of these developments for a variety of reasons. One of them too is that I believe we continue to have choice. I believe we are capable of changing our perspective on some of these things. I believe it is possible for us to hold the government accountable, to remove who's not performing well, and to change the dynamics. And I borrow from my young guest on Thursday who says, while the natural environment is being depleted and degraded by how poorly we treat it, there is a wellspring of creativity within us which can transform our current reality if we tap into it and if we nurture it and treat it well.
Sister.
Yes.
I just asked you a question in this a minute.
Yes.
No problem. We're going 60 years now of party politics. Right? And every year through the 60 years, we face the same situation. Right? Now, is there a law? Like, what can the people do now? What you advise? If we are saying, make the people unite, make we vote them out, make we replace them, make we this, we replace them, it come the same way.
Yeah, because keep saying here, we're not changing the heart of the people, our own hearts, because the leaders come out of our society. We're not changing that, and we've got to change that. We change that, and we change the structure. We've never changed the structure in the 60 years, you know, my brother. We've had the same constitution, the same rules, the same...
It don't matter if it's PRJ. The point is that whether PRJ, the people, them are suffer.
And that we understand.
Right?
We understand that in a rush.
Beside the people who don't understand. What happened to the lawyers, them, who know law? Right? Why the lawyers, them, don't come together and get the people in behind them?
Well, we're doing what we can from this platform. Others to the same cause. That's why I mentioned it, you know. Your voice, my voice, Pastor, all of us who combine our efforts to draw others to the same way of thinking and the same cause. It must make a difference.
The one law we have in Jamaica is today. Not for no people. And that is the reality.
One law for
They
what?
can do what them want to. All right, look on even Michael Mann. Me remember call Michael Mann. Michael Mann is saying, housing in Jamaica, is a birthright,
Yes. You agree?
right? It's a birthright. And look what is going on now in Jamaica with housing. They are telling me no, sir. Then, without right to the international world, we set up those who are educated and understand the things. Something must can be done.
It's not an international problem. It's a local problem and it's a local solution.
But we have international law.
Yeah, but they're not going to come here and fix our problem. We got to do it
No, I
ourselves.
don't expect them to come here and fix it. I expect them to even declare to make the people them know. Say, look at.
They've already declared. They've even declared that our environment is our inheritance, our heritage, and we still are the ones who
And just
who
like
rape
how them
it.
declare that slavery is a choice.
Yeah. All right, my brother. I have one more call that I want to take.
Man, all right, sister.
But I love the reasoning.
Yeah, man. But don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. We're pushing and we're pressing. We cannot give up. We cannot give up. We just have to rise up.
Disappoint the Almighty in giving up.
All right. All right. Good.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know me too nothing about me there again.
You're the right amount enough.
Anyway, I'm going to ask you something now.
Yes.
I say, I call that idiot, so me I listen and me I try to learn and understand. All right. When people are voting for people as leaders of their government, you say, I'm ask you tell me, all right, tell me I vote for somebody to do something for me. If me know what me need to be done and how to go about it, I'm going to employ you. You have to do what me want you to do. But if me don't know what to do, I'm going to employ you to do something to help me, then you might end up doing what you want to do.
Yes.
Even if it end up hurt me more in the long run.
So it's knowledge and accountability. You can't hold
All
a man
right,
accountable if you don't know what he should be doing.
Why over the years, I'm hitch up on the middle class, them all there now, the people them, who have little more education. Why over the years, who no sit down, or the eye them sit down, and make these people run the country to a wreck, if you didn't know what you want. Unless you don't know what you want.
That's why, I went into Corinthians when I was talking about giving generously of your gifts. If the gift I have is knowledge and education on some things, my responsibility is to share it and to share it as freely and as often and with as many as who will hear it. And that's why I speak from the point I speak from. And I've always been that way. When I practice law, if you come to me with a problem, you're not going to leave my office not understanding why you got to where you got to and how you're going to make sure you not get there again. Even if it means that you won't need my services more than the one time. And you know why? If I empower you to understand your business better and to perform better, you will need me longer term for bigger things and better things where we are both growing. I'm not just solving a problem for you. That is my commitment. That is what me committed in my heart to give. And whether I am practicing law or I'm speaking on a talk show, that is what I give. And it's the same. So you're right in calling on those who know better to share what they know and
come together.
Yeah.
The more we come together, the stronger we is. And not just like how you just say, because you don't help me to understand my problem, so I solve it myself. And to me, you never out of work yet, so you're not supposed to out of work.
There you go. There you go.
If you're not body, if you're not crying, if you're going to deal with lawyer work, you're going to plant your food, because nobody wants to feed.
Yes, yes.
You're going to study to build your house.
Yeah,
and your husband and your children can build themselves mansions.
Let me tell you, man, I spoke to an engineer on the weekend, an IT engineer, and he said to me that his objective when he takes a job is to render his position obsolete.
That they don't need him.
He must work himself out of a job.
That's the plan.
That's how he gives service. I thought, wow.
Yeah.
So you see, when the Rasta man just our prime minister say everybody have a right to houses, a life-giving right, something like that.
Birthright.
birthright.
Michael Manley said, yeah, house is birthright. House is birthright. Man should not struggle to find a spot on the ground to lay his head and raise his family.
Yeah, but you see, to me, bona fide, me only say that, what I would say, everybody birthright to own piece of land.
Okay,
Yes.
I understand
Because
that.
if me want to chop down 2 pieces of bamboo and build my little hut, or a little tent to live in, cause me all right with that. You know, want not more than that. But at least now let land for the plant food for full my belly.
But when he said house is birthright, he's
Referring to land.
assuming now that you've moved away from just land. Because house and proper housing come with certain amenities around it, which is part of what society should deliver. So at this point now, he's now getting into finance and financial solutions to allow you to build the kind of house and the kind of community that in which you want to live with your children. When you have your land, you can choose to go out in the wilderness and lean up your two stick together and you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your choice.
But if you don't have the land, you know
If you don't have the land, you can't even start.
Yeah, so, but thank you for your call, and I wanted to change something because we changed in mind. This is our last call, I think I said. One of the things that that we need to do, which is so very important, is a changing of our mindset, and I hope people not missing that, because there is a mindset that says, even as you refer to the middle class and what we have not done in this country in terms of the gifts that we have is educating,
And sharing it generously.
So it's a generosity mindset versus a scarcity mindset, which is what I've been saying. The God I serve is a God who is an expansive God,
Multiplication.
multiplication, versus one that's scared. There's not enough, so I'm going to grab on to hold on to what I have, so I can share with my brother. And you spoke about it again in terms of the Corinthians passage, in terms of
Give
purposes.
generously.
Give generously. And we come to the end of the program. We just want to. Yeah, it's last call. It's 10 minutes to.
Okay, the call was just released. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll close the program because, we have had interesting discussions this morning.
And there's another point I had, but I save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, but it is
Sufficient to the day.
Powerful enough in terms of what we need to see happen in regards to the change that we can and should be making in regards to it. We started in terms of giving thanks that God is a faithful God, and,
All right,
and He wants us to do what is good.
Before you do
benefit.
before you do the vote of thanks,
But I'm not doing a vote
let's
of
just
thanks.
capture some of the points that are being made. Some excellent points being made on the chat. I don't wanna rush past them because, of course, as always, some of our listeners are keeping pace with us and even pushing beyond some of the boundaries where you and I are. So I thank all those who are making their points. Oh, Brixton, boy, reparation still in the air. We're talking about it. One person even said, "What do we think will happen if we ever get a reparation check? The government is gonna just take it and pay those creditors which we have." Burdening us into the future. The dependency syndrome from which some of us suffer has been called out. We've got to let go of the things that are continuing
Have the
to
faith
hold
to
us
move
back.
forward.
Have
into
the faith and the confidence
to move forward into our future.
Absolutely. Already we know. We don't need to guess and spell what the Chinese strategy is all about. We know, we see from what is happening elsewhere that we run the risk of borrowing too much and finding ourselves learning Mandarin and having to take holidays in China. And not the holidays for fun now.
That's a different
work camps. So we have to be careful in how we conduct our business and be sensible. Benefit from what the good that is coming, but make sure that we're not leaving ourselves with our problem. The China-Japan relationship has been tagged as well. That is an interesting relationship. Tiny as Japan is, they have always had the measure of China because they are prepared to use military mind. The sacking of Nanjing is is a piece of history that is horrible but worth taking note of, because Japan used it to terrorize China, and today they still have bad relations. Study the history. Everybody is encouraged. Just read as much as you can so you have a sense of the creature that you're dealing with while we're doing some of these things. Everything comes back to the heart and the need to change some things from the root. We're still working on that. Watch what happens with our own assets. Lancelot Wilson has tagged the Minister of Tourism, who he described as playing the role of the house slave in these times. You can look and see. We don't have to characterize it for you. Just look at what is happening, how we are being pimped out there. Everything for our country now seems to be on sale for $1 that is of reduced value. Every day we see the changes that are happening. I do hope that my friend will find the opportunity to refill that basket of goods, and let's have a conversation about it, because our memories sometimes really are too short.
9-day wonder. We need to move beyond that.
One caller says Neville is an alarmist. Another one says no, he's speaking the truth. And
know what's coming down the pipe.
Yes. Please just hear everything that is being said out there,
and
you decide for yourself. There are some things coming. If you are not prepared for it, then the worst of the alarmist conversation will befall you. Not everybody gonna be saved, but there's always a remnant. Be in that remnant of persons who think critically and take decisions that are sensible. Ricky B says, I keep hearing talk about how we have work to do. When will the work start? The work is ongoing. If you haven't joined it yet,
you have work.
Getting on the game. Yes, there's always work to be done. You only want to know, have we formed a movement, an organization, etc., to have meetings to start changing these things? Of course, we have started actually, and some meetings have already taken place. I myself I've received at least one message that I need to keep myself quiet, but there is a way. If you can reach us by email or otherwise, you can get in on it. It is not, we don't talk about all the things we do on air, but those who are supporting us,
wise as serpents and
harmless as doves. And if you really want to get involved, you know you can find us. We are serious about what we're doing here. Thank you to all those online. I bless you for joining us and for keeping the conversation going. Those who are on the air, who take the time to call us, sometimes one, twice. I am just so encouraged by those who are listening, picking a spot and adding value to the conversation. And just remember that your thoughts are a part of you, and nothing of you is worthless. No matter how it sounds coming out. And it's a part of building the consensus. Thank you to the producer, engineer, Pastor Percy, as always.
You're still my sister.
We stand for the truth.